Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tabletop Tavern Season 3, Episode 1. I am so excited to have you all here, and I hope you're stoked to be here and to hear the thrilling final season of our very first campaign. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jenny. I will be your Dungeon Master for the entirety of forever. I'm going to let my lovely, wonderful players introduce themselves, starting with the vivacious, the effervescent Victoria Shaz. Thank you. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Victoria, and I play LaBelle.
Hi, my name is Ryan, and I play Galen Wayfair.
Hi, I'm Doe or Doedir, and I play Gris Littlefoot.
And I'm Pippin, and I play Ariadne and Kailte.
And I'm so excited to play again. It's been a really, 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 really long time.
Insight check.
I'm lying, and I hate all of you.
I knew it.
Before we start this episode, we did drop a couple warnings in the chat, but just to let you know, today's episode does deal with themes including grief and loss of a loved one. And these are themes that I think are important to storytelling, but also ones that I know can be very triggering for a lot of people. So if you ever want to avoid any kind of trigger in an episode, you're more than welcome to wait until the episode releases on YouTube, where we will timestamp things that may be potentially triggering, so you are able to scrub through them, but still be caught up on the plot. So with all of the formalities out of the way, are you all ready for episode 1 of season 3, Ascension?
I rolled a natural 20 on my spoof roll. I think we're good to go.
All right, yeah.
Unless you just wasted it.
That's Ooh, it does sometimes do that. That might have been your one good roll for the day.
I could just change dice sets. It's no problem.
Okay, well.
Glad you trust them that much. I don't trust mine.
I don't trust my dice at all.
I was gonna say, all of mine are cursed. I have currently 3 out of 5 D20s are in dice jail, and the other 2 are in thin fucking ice. All right! The party leaves behind the smoldering wreckage of Mung's home, spending the night at a small inn en route to the capital. You don't really speak much. There is some tension in the air, a question of where you're supposed to go from here, how to react to the actions of your fellow party members, all sorts of things that make it a little uncomfortable. You spend the night in separate rooms for once, at Leon's insistence. The next morning, you wake and find that the sorceress has left. She leaves behind a note with the innkeeper explaining that she's gone home to deal with a family emergency. With no direct course of action in sight, the rest of you all part ways without much ceremony, each heading in the directions of the lives that you've left behind. For 3 months, there is very little communication between the group. Few letters change hands, and those received are rarely responded to. Each member goes about their lives, tries to pick up whatever pieces remain in the god's absence. A new letter accompanies the coming of spring. The flowers have just begun to bloom. 3 of you receive envelopes addressed in the fourth's best handwriting, accompanied by your full and, on reflection, relatively unimpressive titles. Each of you breaks the wax seal, reads the contents of the letter, and writes a brief reply. You all arrive on your own, unaccompanied. Gris arrives first, her feet wrapped for once, and Ariadne shortly after, coming down the road, dressed in a clean black set of official vestments, something that they very rarely wear. Galen finds the two engrossed in a conversation on the steps of the LaBelle manor, the doors of which are open to allow in the many somber faces passing through its archway. Both greet Galen with somber smiles before turning towards the doorway, in which stands LaBelle, as radiant as ever, greeting them with a large, friendly smile and open arms.
Hey. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Of course. Gris kind of reaches out and grabs Leon's hand and just kind of like stares into her eyes as if kind of staring into her soul. And it's just like, we're here for you, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just look at her and I say, "You cold? We came. Don't doubt that we'd ever do that."
It means a lot, Ari. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Oh no, you go.
I was just gonna say, Galen just sort of like stands there and just like bows. He's been to like too many of these, so.
I'm sorry I know last time I wrote more. I'm usually one for writing letters, but I didn't really have it in me over the past few months, if you could guess why. So.
Figured that was the reason. I missed you. We're here.
We keep calling this a celebration of life, but I don't know. It doesn't feel like a celebration.
You never
then
do.
let's make it one.
Well, I guess Ari probably bar.
I mean, I like start to crack a smile, hoping to make her smile too. I personally think I know what your grandmother would have done. At this time of day, any time of day, really, and it's a good way to start any celebration.
Yeah, I think you could probably get away with drinking. Mama probably won't say anything to any of you for that. Do I have anyone else I need to greet? I probably have to greet more people, right?
There's quite a few people still arriving, but the majority of them have kind of sort of filtered into your home towards the direction of the ballroom.
Okay. We can go to the ballroom. I don't actually think I've ever showed you all the ballroom. I think we kind of skipped over all of that every time we were here.
Oh.
Follow me.
Fair enough.
Chris kind of somberly follows, and as they're walking, she kind of like whispers to Leon, and she's like, "Is Marius around?"
Yes, yeah, he's here. Why?
Oh, I'd like to speak to him. I don't know, a friendly face, someone we could talk to.
Yeah, he should be in the ballroom. He's been so great.
Are you glad you had someone around?
Yeah.
Gris kind of like keeps walking and kind of like shoots Ari like a face like, "Oh god, I hate this."
So you all follow Leon, and a large throng of what appear to be nobles, all in sort of dark shades of dress, as Ariadne has done. Galen, you really didn't have to choose a particular outfit. You have the appropriate color scheme for the event. Gris, you sort of opted towards a clean shirt. You've put on some shoes and a darker pair of traveling pants than you usually would. It's sort of the best you could do here.
Yeah.
Leon, you lead your friends to the ballroom. It is very large. It sort of reminds all of you very much of the ballroom you saw at the Steel Home when you first visited, although this one is significantly less ornately decorated. In the center of the room is a large, comfortable chair. You actually recognize the chair as that which was in the reading nook, where Galen managed to fully piss off Bertram the last time you were here. It is covered in flowers. Flowers pour all the way over the side and onto the floor. People sort of mill around it, all sort of talking to each other. Some hold glasses of what appear to be champagne, although it's not really clear where they got it. As you enter the ballroom, you do take a moment to take a look around and see if you can really make out anyone in particular, but it seems that whoever this ceremony is in honor of had quite an influence over the social sphere, and there are maybe 200 participants in this event. There aren't a lot of seats, although it does appear that someone has pulled a podium up next to this chair in the center of the room. Many people are leaving their own flowers alongside those that are already present.
I'm not sure. I know the letter said to bring flowers. Did any of you bring
Miss hastily opens her satchel and kind of holds it up, and it's overstuffed with wildflowers and herbs and just things that Grist would probably cultivate in her garden back in Dreamer's Grove. Some of them are probably looking a little rough for wear but she's done her best to like bring a mix of pressed flowers and somewhat fresh flowers. And she's like, should we place them over there with
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
And she kind of like looks at Ari and Galen.
I follow Gris and just like hold the little bundle that I'm holding up. And it's just a bunch of delicate. It's like small, it's simple, but a bunch of delicately sort of carefully arranged flowers. And I just like look up at Leon and I'm like, Lily and I have been growing them, and they're just nowhere they'd rather be, so they send their love. She sends her love too.
My mama would have loved that.
I sort of.
And I like awkwardly go up and follow Gris. I'm like, flower placed.
I sort of like gingerly take out this like small bundle, but like the flowers are kind of big, so they looks bigger than it is, of these like sort of like pale blue like chrysanthemum sort of flowers. And I say or Galen sort of just like looks at Leon and was like, these are my mom's favorite, so I thought maybe they'd fit in here too. And I just sort of just like gently lay them down at the foot of the chair.
It's like nodding and really trying hard not to like break up. And she's like, Grandmama would have appreciated that. Well, you all brought things that were important to you in your homes as well. She would have appreciated. Everyone here probably just bought them at whatever stall they passed on the way over, or whatever servants passed on the way over. So what you brought her from the heart, and that means the world.
I nod along to everything. Oh, sorry.
Go for it.
I nod along to everything Vic is saying, and then I like my face just like shoots up, and I'm surprised. And I'm like, oh, I almost forgot. And I pull out the tiny flask that Leonida gave me, and I hand it to Leon, and it's painted with a small flower, like hand painted flower, that Lily painted. So I say, this, it's not much, but it, makes me think of her, and I think maybe it might make you think of her too. And so I hand it to Leon.
Leon kind of like takes it in her hands, and like you can see like a tear stroll down, like just go hit, it's going. She goes, Ari, thank you. I don't want to take this from you though.
I don't mind, it's why I'm giving it.
Oh. And Leon kind of takes it for now with the intention of returning it to Ari in a time that Ari doesn't realize.
I think seeing you cry, Gris probably reaches into her bag and pulls out what is probably a very worn handkerchief, but clean nonetheless. And it has in like the bottom corner a like hand-stitched, but still somewhat elegant R in red. Oh. And she hands it to Leon, and she's like, "Here you go, love, for
Thank you. Leon kind of dabs the tear away, and she cracks a little smile, and she says, "I don't actually have to worry about any makeup. This is a glamour. Oh. There was no hiding what was going on. So it's..."
Well, Bertram would be proud.
And Leon kind of like gently folds the handkerchief and is like, "Do you want this back? It's got tears on it now."
Gris is like, "Hang on to it
in case you need it. I could get you.
No. It's for Leon. It's fine."
Okay, are you sure?
Yes, Leon.
Okay. And then Leon kind of looks around, just in general, trying to get a sense of the situation at hand in the ballroom right now.
So it seems that, like, and you're all welcome to look around. I'm not even going to make your roll perception. It's very obvious. This is a sort of, it's less chaotic than the last noble event you went to. People seem to be on their best possible behavior. There are a few chairs around the edges of the room. It looks like most people are preferring to be standing. Really, the people in the chairs tend to be older people around the age of Leonida. A few seem really engrossed in conversation. You do notice about 200 feet away, in one of these chairs, is a familiar face. Marius is sort of watching all of you. He seems pretty concerned based off of his facial expression, but he does catch Leone's eye and gives her like a little wink, and raises a hand in greeting. Someone else familiar stands next to him. It looks a little bit like somebody like let the air out of Marius and gave him a shorter haircut. Whoever it is seems to notice that Marius has greeted someone and turns to face you. And Galen, you recognize this person immediately. This is your dear friend, your close personal homie, Thad Steele. He gives you a smile and then looks back to Marius for a moment before seeming to ask him a question or something, to which Marius then turns his attention back to him and begins to talk.
Leon kind of says, you can all... You don't have to...
I'll be by your side, Leon.
There's champagne somewhere, I think. Probably... I mean, you have more... You just have to find Bertram and ask for whatever you want. He'll just give you whatever you want.
Are you telling me he won't just show up behind us once you've said that?
I mean, he could
Galen
very
looks
well.
over his shoulder.
Bertram does not appear.
Oh.
He's probably busy, but I'm sure if you find a staff member, they can find him. And
We're
if you
fine.
need something, I'm not
Leon,
used to this kind of stuff.
Leon,
so.
you don't have to host during this sort of occasion.
I think I do, though, unfortunately.
No, there are plenty of people who know exactly why we're here. And
But
it's
we
okay.
can't put this all on my mother, so...
No, of course not, but I think this manor somewhat runs itself.
I mean, yes.
Give
Okay.
Bertram a little credit.
Well, I meant in terms of like staff runs it, not like Bertram. Less that the two LaBelle women are allowed to spend this time to mourn.
I know it's a few months since you've seen Marius, so perhaps we should go speak to him.
Sure, yeah.
Let's go say
I'm
hi.
basically your shadow. It's not like I would talk to anyone else.
Although, Thaddeus is there. I don't remember, did any of you speak to Thad?
No.
No.
I believe
Nope.
we were all preoccupied with Thad's, and I look at Galen. Girlfriend?
Girlfriend, fiance.
Wait, but you.
Are they engaged now, Jenny? I feel like Leon would know this.
They are engaged.
Fiance. They're
Mm.
Oh,
betrothed.
yay!
Yes.
It worked out. That's so nice.
Yeah, well, until he decides to run away again. Which...
She seems like she could be strong enough if she put her mind to it.
It's the
hold that
putting her
man down.
mind to it part. That's the problem. And I say that with peace and love.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Gris is kind of like brow furrowed, eyes like, what? And so she kind of like scratches her head and she's like, well, I want to see Marius. And she
Yes.
kind of like turns on her heel, straightens her what I imagine is probably just like a white linen shirt, and marches kind of on over, as somewhat elegantly, mostly just marching over to where Marius stands with his brother.
Leon ushers Ari and Galen to go first and follows them.
So, as you approach, Marius seems to notice you all coming towards him, and he does stand up from the chair. As he does so, you notice something a little bit odd. He appears to be using a cane of some sort to support his weight. but he does sort of shift his weight, pick it up, and hand it to Thad in a very casual manner, as if this is supposed to be some sort of accessory. Thad seems a little confused as to why he's been handed a cane, but takes it in stride and does do kind of like a little like twirling of it for a moment before he's like, okay, I am at a funeral, and sets it back on the ground, sort of leaning it against the chair. Before Marius can really say anything, Thaddeus looks at all of you and his face lights up when his eyes land on Galen. And he's like, dude, it's you, man. How you doing? It's been a long time. How are you?
Galen?
Hey, dude.
Yeah,
Hey, man. Oh, man, you look good, dude. You got some, like, sun or something? Did you, like, go down the seashore, spend a little time tanning? Something like that?
You could say that.
Well, you know, I was actually kind of hoping you'd be here because, ever since you gave me that really great advice, I've been meaning to, get Mr. Somber over here to give me your, that sweet, sweet Addie so I can send you an invitation. I got a stag party coming up. I'd love to have you there, man. Just like me and, like, 3 other guys, I think you'd have a great time.
Ari is like taking very deep methodical breaths, using their extensive years of training to not laugh.
Leon has made eye contact with Gris, and then Ari, and then Marius. In that order, just looks at them.
You know what, Thad? I think I know the perfect place for your stag party. If you don't already have one, that is.
I mean, I'm open to suggestions. I had a few ideas, but, you know, I'd love to hear your thoughts. You've had great advice so far.
Have you ever been to the Sea of Trees before? Or anywhere near there?
The one with the elves, man?
Yeah, but just hold on. There's this massive tree there, right? It's hollowed out. And there's this party goblin that lives there.
Burned down now?
I don't think it's there anymore, Galen.
Didn't it get burned down?
Galen just, like, flashes, like, daggers in his eyes over at Gris.
Oh.
It's like, oh yeah, there's a party goblin there. He knows. He smokes a hookah and gets just, like, so high. And he'll get you high, too. And it'll take you so far gone, bro. It is perfect for your parties.
I lean down to Gris and whisper to it, like, just she hears, did Galen get another concussion while we were away?
Not meat ass.
Gris just mutters. Sounds like it.
Galen, as you go on this little spiel, you could swear you feel someone pinch one of your ass cheeks really hard. But there is nobody there. Like, it feels like somebody is annoyed at you and just gave you a little pinch. But...
Was it Bertram? I feel like it was Bertram.
There's nobody there.
Bertram's
whatsoever.
invisible. It's Bertram.
I don't think I'm not sure Bertram has a spell. He has a spell? No, I don't. Well, no. Anyways, it's a little mystery for you. But Thad looks taken aback for a moment and goes, I think we're gonna take Marius's boat and sail it. So would you be down, like, do you like the ocean?
He loves the ocean. He'll be there.
Alright, sick. I'll have Marius get them deets from Leon, and I'll be sure to send you a letter. I'm gonna go find my beautiful bride-to-be, because she was drinking several glasses of champagne the last time I saw her. I'll be seeing you around. Hey, homie, you do look good, though. You've been lifting? What's your secret, man?
I spar with a old military guy.
Sick, nice. I got one of those at home. He doesn't want to spar with me.
You should.
Marius is like clearly uncomfortable. Like, dude,
just punch him one day. See what happens.
Oh, that's.
So Marius.
I think it's Thaddeus he's referring to, right?
No, he's fully talking about Marius.
Oh.
Marius is looking at you, Galen, like, dude.
I thought
is not that old, Thad.
He's like almost 30. That's like ancient. That's like old. Okay.
I thought you were talking about your dad.
I mean, I wish somebody would, but I want a slice of that sweet inheritance, you know? Am I right? You know what I'm talking about, Leon? I gotta go.
I do, actually.
Do you know where the the guy with the stick up his ass when he's got the tray with the champagne.
Are you referring to Bertram, Thad?
I gotta go. I'll see you later, Leon. It's nice talking to you.
As always.
Galen, my man, I'll send you a letter. I'm super stoked to see you.
Yeah, you too, Thad. Okay, can I make him like slip on a puddle when he walks away?
So you want to summon some water?
Yeah.
Yes. Let me do a quick.
Oh no.
I just want to make him slip like on a cartoon banana peel style.
Yeah,
like,
I'm gonna give him a dex saving throw though for the slip here.
Okay.
He slips, and nearly falls backwards, but manages to catch himself on Marius's shoulder. However, this seems to throw Marius like oddly off balance, and he stumbles for a minute before righting himself, and gives Thad just like the dirtiest look you have ever seen. And Thad gives you all like a little bit of like a finger guns and makes his way across the ballroom.
Nice. Okay.
Leon looks at Marius and says, where did the education of that boy go wrong? Does he ever have any tact? Ever? No.
He doesn't do. No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, no. It's good to hello, and he very awkwardly sort of turns his attention to the rest of you. He's very clearly like trying to recover this social situation from the entire Thad thing that just happened. He does reach out a hand for Leon to kind of take, and smiles at the rest of you and says, "It's good to see all of you. I was hoping it would be on better circumstances."
He's kind of just nods, and she's like, "It's good to see you again, Marius. Do you want to sit back down?"
Oh, I was just relaxing. I'm fine. Unless you want me to be on your eye level, I'm happy to.
Yeah, that would be great. It's always, you're so tall, and I'm so short. So if you could sit, that would be. If you guys don't mind. And she kind of like looks to Ari and Leon and Galen like.
Oh, it's absolutely fine.
No, by all means.
Yes. And then she kind of like grins at Marius like, sit please.
He smiles and takes a seat in the chair and does like a sort of half-concealed like sigh of relief as he does so, and is like, well, all things considered, how are you all? I haven't heard much about you. Is there, I mean, where have you been? I mean, I saw Grace a while ago, but the rest of you, did you go home? Or you weren't here, right? I didn't just, like, you weren't somewhere else? I didn't walk past
we weren't avoiding you, if that's what you're asking.
Only Grace.
No! It's just, I did lose Grace a couple times when she was here. She's a tall piece of furniture, and you can't find her.
That's quite true.
She acts offended, but then she's like, yeah.
It's really true, Gris. You were here for like a week, and
well,
I don't know why you're not a rogue, Gris. We could use someone like you.
It's the lying
because
thing.
Plants and herbs are my passion.
You could be someone of many talents. There's
Maybe.
always room to learn.
Maybe in another life. She kind of like looks a little tired at that point, and just kind of like just nods tiredly at Galen, and then she kind of turns her attention to Ariadne, and she's like, "Well, you mentioned Lily. How is she?"
Yeah, I mean that's basically where I've been. She finished fixing up the house that she told us about. It's really lovely. I can't wait for you guys to see it. But yeah, it's just kind of all we've been doing. Quite slow days, which is unusual for us. So
slow's good
nice
sometimes.
Change of pace.
Yeah, I'm teaching her brother to spar, which
How's it
the
going?
kid's he can zoom.
Good.
He could zoom.
That's like 90% of it, right?
I mean, you don't have to zoom, but
I
personal
certainly
experience, it's a lot easier and better if you do zoom.
Yeah.
How about you?
Marius sort of nods along and then for a moment leans over to Leon and says, "Did you hear that, Leon? There's some good news. Ariadne's playing house with a pretty girl."
Oh.
Yeah,
Leon kind of smiles and looks at Ari.
And Marius with the stepdad energy.
Yeah, Ari just looks at Leon and just like squints their eyes and just like, okay.
You have to give it to me. My grandmother just died.
Okay, Ari just like rolls their eyes and sort of just gives an over exaggerated sign. It's like, fair enough. Ask and I'll answer.
Perfect. Well, I mean, like, how excited was Lily to see you?
Yes.
I'm looking between them both and I'm like, I mean, I don't know, pretty excited. I've not seen how excited she is when other people get there, so frame of reference wise.
What do you mean? She runs an inn. Of course you've seen how excited she is when other people get there.
Well, but they're paying her.
Yeah, well. that point there, like,
Wouldn't that elicit excitement? And yet you got excitement.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's nice. She sends you all love. She likes hearing about the stuff we did. For the most part, it seems quite dangerous to her. She was glad I was home.
And how was her mushroom stew?
Oh, delightful. I'm sure she can't wait for you to sing its praises again.
Leon does not miss that Ari just called that home. She does not miss it. She does not miss that, but she does not say anything about it. But she clocked it.
Chris is just like, maybe do you think she'd send me the recipe? Do you think she'd get me the recipe? Is that a weird thing to ask?
I wouldn't know. I don't know how I mean, if she's anything like you with your herbs and stuff, she can be kind of protective.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure she'd be more than happy to A, make it for you whenever. B, have me bring it to you wherever. Or you could use it as an excuse to come see the house.
That's a good point. I probably should. And then she kind of swings her head over to Galen and she's like, B? Aquara?
This person you said you were sparring with.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of my father's old, I don't know what the word is, comrades in the service.
Compatriots?
Sure. My uncle insisted on me seeing him because apparently I'm not fit for the library, so we've been doing that on and off between adventures. But as for B, well, I came home to a newly remodeled house completely. So
that doesn't even remotely surprise me.
No.
No, everything's. It kind of looks like this, and he like gestures around.
She does have good taste.
Yeah. There's a random monk that lives there now. Not that that's a bad thing, Ari, but I don't know where they
Ari
came
just
from.
gives like a quizzical look, less about the comment and more about the implication of like random monks, as if monks that travel aren't random pretty much wherever they're at. If they're not in a temple, then it's kind of like so they're just stood there a little like short-circuited, but yeah.
They were kind of just there. I guess they help with like meditation or something. I don't know. Yeah, other than that, B wasn't there when I got there, which was strange, because at first I thought somebody else did something to my house, but yeah, other than that, without B being there, I stayed with my mom.
How is she?
Yeah.
She's okay, but it doesn't seem like there's any more forward progress with the whole, other thing that we've been dealing with.
Yeah.
But we would take walks on the shore side a bunch. We went back to our old family house. That's where I got those flowers from. They're from our front yard.
economical.
I brought flowers from my front yard, too. I thought it was a nice gesture. Luciana did not like that I brought them in a bottle of Leonida's favorite whiskey, but I thought that, if anything was an appropriate vase.
I think that's a lovely gift. It's a lovely vase. It's appropriate for the person. It's a celebration.
Thank you, Galen and Ari. I know. That's what I thought. Just
Leonida would definitely love it.
Sorry, Galen. Go on. You were talking about your mother.
But I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't really feel appropriate to say the other things at the current setting that we're in. If you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Fair. We could talk about it later.
I was going to take Leon over here to dinner, and I'm sure. Would you, baby? Do you want? Would you like your?
Yeah.
You're welcome to join us if you want a merrier setting. And he sort of looks around for a minute, and like you can see Thad and his beautiful fiance are across the room and appear to have engaged in a drinking contest, but everyone else seems very somber.
Mm-hmm. I just lean over and I look around and I go, "Well, you mean this isn't the life of the party?"
Well, I mean, we have the life of the party right here. And he points to Leon. Yeah. He gives her a little smile. He's clearly trying very hard to cheer her up a little bit.
Yeah. I kind of just look at Gris and I go, and I sort of gesture towards Thad and his fiance. I was like, "Do you have alcohol's a poison, right? Don't you have something that could protect them from that?"
I mean, I have something that can help them from maybe not getting a hangover, but I don't know. This display, maybe they do need the hangover. And she kind of
drink more.
And she kind of looks at Leon this. You just want to leave it.
This is fine.
Marius does a really big sigh and kind of stands up from the chair, not without effort, and reaches down for the cane and is like, "Well, I am going to go fulfill my familiar duty. Is there somewhere I could get them some food, maybe?"
Bertram. Bertram, just go to Bertram. He'll get you anything you need. He knows.
He nods to you and gives you a little smile and then nods to the rest of the group and walks in Thad's direction, leaning pretty heavily on the cane as he walks there.
Leon watches him with concern.
Mm-hmm. Can Gris kind of watch him as he leaves and do a medicine check?
Yeah, you can do a medicine check.
I just lean over to Leon and ask, "Is he all right?"
No. 13 plus 7, 20.
Yeah, he's not all right. That man is, he's doing very poorly. Gris, the last time you were here, you definitely noticed that it seemed like maybe he had a cold or a flu or something, and whatever it is has considerably progressed. When he was sitting down, you did notice that he looked a little clammy, almost as if he had a fever, and he seemed very, very tired. You can't tell what would make him rely so heavily on a cane he hasn't needed before. He seems very tired as he moves across the room. You can't tell what's wrong with him, but you can tell that he is sick.
Okay.
As Gris does that, Ari asks Leon if he's okay. If he's okay, Leon says no, and then loudly enough so that everybody hears, "I have a solution. I don't want to talk about it right now. We'll talk about it later, but I have a solution."
Okay.
You're not gonna...
We'll discuss it later.
Oh, okay.
We'll just discuss it later. I just don't want to talk about it right here and right now because there's a lot of questions and I have a lot on my mind and I have to... Yes, we'll talk about it later.
Chris kind of just once again stares into Leon's eyes I am not happy with this.
It's fine.
And she's "You'll let me look at him, yes?"
You can't do anything. Like I said, we'll talk about it later. But I have a solution.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just trust me.
Ari just accepts it, stands up a little straighter, and is like, "Okay, that's the plan. I'm gonna take you at face value."
Chris then kind of turns once again to Leon and is like, do you want anything? Food? Something to drink? To sit? And she gestures to the chair that Marius just left.
No, I don't. And I guess Leon's kind of trying to gauge the time to, like, discern, like, how much time she has until this progresses.
So do you want to, like, read the vibes of the room?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Do a vibe check.
Vibe check.
Yeah.
Would you like a vibe? You can roll a vibe check.
Like do a vibe check.
A vibe check? That's going to be perception,
like,
yeah.
When the, like, because obviously funerals, like, at some point the family needs to, like, talk about things and shit.
Yeah.
I want to do that too.
That is.
Okay, you're both going to roll a vibe check.
14 plus 1, 15. Vibe check.
That's a 22.
Okay, so Leon, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
You take a look around the room. You're sort of mostly looking for your mother, who presumably is going to kick any kind of real ceremony off. You can see her across the room. And you've found Bertram. Your mother is crying. She is sort of tucked away in the corner of the room, and it's very obvious that she is doing her best to remain composure. Bertram is with one hand holding the tray, and with the other hand he has placed a very stiff hand on her shoulder, clearly trying to maintain some professionalism in a public setting, and saying something. Almost as if he can tell you are looking at them, he looks at you, and your mother turns in your direction too. And points at you, and then at Ariadne, and does a little, like, come here gesture towards you. Galen, you do a quick sweep of the room yourself. There are quite a few servants milling about. Each holds a tray of champagne. They all seem to be pretty used to this kind of event, almost as if maybe this is, there's specific people who are hired for this sort of thing that aren't necessarily permanent members of the LaBelle staff. There's also quite a few nobles. Some of them you recognize from the ball at Marius's, but there are also quite a few older people. One of them, across the room, really does sort of catch your eye. For a moment, you feel like you've seen a ghost. You didn't. There is, in fact, an elderly Triton man seated there. You're not really sure what the hell he's doing here until you realize that he is wearing a uniform of the human navy. It's some kind of military officer, and does appear to be, if not a noble, high-ranking enough to be invited to this sort of thing. He meets your gaze, gives you a little nod, and seems entirely uninterested in engaging with you. Your eyes then pass to what Leona's looking at, which appears to be her mother, who seems to be crying, and Galen Wavefair, man made of stone, you do have a little twinge in your heart. It reminds you a lot of your mother, especially after your father left. Like, this is a heartbroken woman doing her best to not act that way. You also notice Marius has sort of managed to corral Thad and his fiancée and have moved them to the corner of the room. The two still do appear to be drinking, but they've sort of settled into chairs and seem to be less of nonsense causers than before. Marius, meanwhile, has sort of started to walk over to you all, and as you watch him do so, you notice him stop and appear to have to take a break in the short cross of the room.
Leon says, my mother wants Ari and I. Can I leave you two?
Yeah. Maybe we'll help Marius back to his chair?
That's a great idea. Don't phrase it like that, though.
No, yeah, I'll find something else to say.
Yeah,
and she kind of, like, looks at you and, like,
Chris.
You're gonna have to be the one to actually do it, but I'll come with.
Okay, Ari?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lead
awesome.
the way.
Yeah, great. And Leon kind of, like, heads over to her mom. Concerned. She's power walking. She doesn't like seeing her mom cry.
So
Ari's like happily half zooming because they have to slow down so often. They're just like, yes, let's go.
Great.
Ari's like, there's free alcohol, I can Zoom in public, this is, if it wasn't a funeral, this would be a whole thing. So it sounds like Ari and Leon are going to walk towards Luciana and Bertram. And Galen, you agreed to accompanying Gris, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's start with Leon and Ari. You two approach Luciana, who watches you. Bertram has removed his hand from her shoulder and is very prim, standing there. As you approach, he nods to you, Leon, and says, "Very well, ma'am. If there's nothing you need, I will be taking my leave to help sort of get things a little bit ready for the ceremony." And as he passes you, Leon, he does lean down to you and say, "Lady LaBelle, I know you are very focused on decorum, but it is appropriate to cry." Oh, Leon, you're muted.
What?
Oh, it just didn't pick you up. I think you were too far away from your microphone.
Oopsies. I was like, what do you mean I'm muted? She says, I know, Bertram. I'm more of a cry in private kind of girl.
I know. The glamour is quite good, by the way.
Thank you. I learned from the best.
Well, I like to think. And he gives Ariadne a little nod and sort of disappears back into the throng, leaving you with your mother, who is she's not happy. I'm not gonna lie. She's not like, she called this a celebration of life. This is not a woman who's celebrating really anything. But she does take both of your hands, Leon, and says, "Now, Leon, you did prepare a speech, right?"
I did.
All right, and thank you. I'll go first, and then you, and then we'll do the prayer to Sune, and your grandmother wanted everybody to have a drink on the house, so we're gonna do that. She wanted an open bar, and I didn't think that was entirely appropriate, so we're gonna do this one instead. And are you okay?
I'm just fine. I'm good. Yes, I'm good. When do I do the ceremony part of the ceremony?
I'll just call you up, and that does bring me to something I realized we should have written a letter. It's been a lot. I didn't really think it through. I should have had Bertram. It's just, it wasn't the torp. But when my mother, she passed, she did mention that she wanted her favorite member of the clergy to speak, and when I asked who that was, she told me it was the Ariadne. I know it's a little off the fly, and you can say no, it was just one of her last wishes on these earth to have you just say a few words, something you can give me to prayer.
Ari gets flustered a bit, but is just like nodding along and trying to like mumble out, no, yes, I mean, yes, I'd love to, if you'd like that.
Just, something about how somebody's watching over us. I don't know. We were sort of Sune's birthday and Sune's day of blessing family when we went to, it wasn't, you don't even have to do Sune. I mean, everybody here has got a different, just something about something. I think that with,
I reach out and I like put a hand on her upper arm and like squeeze comforting, and I'm like, I gladly, whatever you need. And I look over at Leon.
Thank you. She wasn't a woman who made very many reasonable requests, so I apologize for the lack of warning. I just thought maybe she'd
I'd expect nothing less from
She was a fan of yours. I've never seen her take so kindly. She was the one who said that maybe it was good that Leon was meeting other elves. I think that she had a hard time. She in many ways was the father Leon never had. I don't really know what I didn't have one either, but she did her job okay, I think, right? I thought she was pretty good.
She was so good.
All right, yeah, so I'm going to give everyone some time to... We've got a few latecomers. Who the hell is late for a funeral, by the way? I just want to put it out there, being late...
It's not like they all don't live around here.
Well, exactly, and we were very clear about... Your friends came from God knows where.
Exactly.
The woods, probably. Yeah, and they made it on
Managed to make it
time.
on time. I know.
Yeah, Marius is, his bad leg from that whole military thing you were telling me about. It's been acting up. He was on time.
Exactly.
I shoot a look at Leon, and I'm like, later, I know, but communicating.
Leon just kind of quickly cuts her eyes to Ari and then looks back at her mom.
I just, there's no respect. You can't eat for... I'm all right. It's all right. Yeah, I'll give them a few moments. Meanwhile, across the room, the two of you approach Marius, and he smiles and kind of sort of straightens up and seems to do his best to catch his breath, and is like, "Oh, it's good to see you. You didn't have anyone else to talk to? Anyone better?"
Well, we're here as a distraction, so you can catch your breath. Gris kind of just reaches out to grab a hand, and she's like, "You can't hide that from me, by the way."
I don't know what Leon told you, but I'm fine.
Okay, but
Leon didn't tell us anything. It's just, and I sort of look him up and down. You're not hiding it well. That's.
Yeah, Galen. Whatever your name is. And Gris is just like...
I could have said that better.
Not them making it sound like Leon spilling tea immediately.
Marius looks at you both and goes, "There's nothing to hide. I'm fine. I just..."
Absolutely.
So if I kicked that cane out from under you, you wouldn't collapse.
I might beat you with it first.
You should. Would you like something to drink or a snack? Well, maybe Galen could escort you to your chair, and I can just go grab you a refreshment. I know this is probably a lot for you too.
I'm okay. I think that in terms of funerals, this is one of the more unique ones I've been to. Did you know that? Apparently Leon's been talking.
She hasn't been talking. We asked.
Well, did she tell you that Leonida asked that I propose at the funeral as a final request? I thought that was a little in poor taste, so I wasn't. Seems ill timing.
Gris kind of looks back at Galen. She's like, that was her request?
That was her dying wish?
Fucking dying, Jenny.
Marius takes a moment and seems to collect himself. It almost looked like he was going to laugh and realize that would be wildly inappropriate. And goes, "Well, you can't blame her for trying. She sent me her own engagement ring once in the mail. That was about 2 weeks into Leon and I's having known each other. So, I wasn't surprised, but I don't think that's going to be... She deserves a lot more than that. I'll tell you what, Gris, I don't have much of an appetite, and it doesn't seem like you're going to take no for an answer, so I will let Galen walk with me. Because I think that it would be far more humiliating to have an elderly woman escort me.
I'll take it. And she kind of wrings her hands a little bit, and she's like, okay. And she kind of turns around to kind of walk with him, but she kind of starts knowing that she's a little slow. And she's like, so things with your brother and his fiance?
Chris.
Okay.
They are disgusting. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I just want to sanitize every surface in my father's home.
Oh.
Yeah, well, young love and whatnot. And he he begins to walk, and As he speaks, it seems a little difficult for him to do both at the same time. And Galen, he actually does wind up grabbing your arm briefly and lets go, looks at you, and is like, sorry. I know
Arms up, soldier. And I sort of like put one of my arms, like, not like around his waist, but sort of like just there as support and like gesture for him to put his arm around my shoulder.
He does, but he tries to almost pass it off as like, you two are homies, like doing like a little bit of a bro hug. But he does lean on you pretty heavily and says very quietly, "Thank you. I know you've never been my biggest fan."
I mean, I like you better than that guy, and I sort of like point at Thad.
He's harmless. He's, every family needs a black sheep, and ours just happens to have two.
Chris is like, I bet that stag party's gonna be really fun, huh, Galen? Are you gonna be there, Marius?
Oh no.
I'm
only going if you're going, Marius.
I'd like to go. I'm not sure I'll get the opportunity.
Does Gris pick up what he's putting down?
I don't know, Gris. Do you?
I mean, out of character, I get what he's putting down, but can I roll for that?
I think it's, what's your wisdom modifier?
+3.
What's your passive perception?
18.
Yeah, you get it. You both get what he's saying.
Okay. Gris once again, like...
Perception is 18?
Mine's 19.
We can perceive.
They look at things real good.
Leon does not perceive. Leon does not perceive, apparently.
I think it's a wisdom thing, You got street smarts and old lady.
Street smarts.
Anyway.
Gris once again, like, furrows her brow, and she kind of, like, clears her throat, and she's like, Are they close to the chair? I don't know how.
They are, yeah. Once he was able to lean on Galen, they kind of pick up the pace. It looks like Thad was right. Galen's been working out, doing some lifting, has become a bit more of a gym bro, and is pretty capable of supporting Marius's weight. It also seems like maybe Marius may have lost some weight. He looks a bit thinner. His clothes don't quite fit. You're sure Leon's disappointed. You know that she likes her men big and strong, but you reach the chair pretty quickly once Galen's helping.
Gris is gonna kind of like stand like behind the chair as if she's like looking into the ballroom, and is just kind of gonna like lean quietly into Marius's ear and just be like, "Are you in any pain? Can I help?"
I don't know why I would be in pain, Gris.
She, like, audibly sighs, and she's like, "Marius, you don't have to put on a front for me, of all people."
I'm tired. Yeah, I heard. But, I don't want Leon to worry about me right now. She's got enough going on and enough people to take care of.
Gris nods and fumbles through her satchel and pulls out what appears to be a already made what's the word I'm looking for? Not poultice, but like some sort of tonic. And she just kind of like slowly places it into Marius's hand, and she's like, "Just a drop or two when you need it." And just kind of stands back up.
He like looks at you for a minute and then looks to Galen, and he goes to Galen, "Do you think she knew this in advance? Did you just make me say that so that you could give me? Did you make this beforehand? Does she do that?"
She's just very smart, Marius. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe it's her age, or maybe it's her studies, but Gris always just seems to know things. You can't get anything past Gris.
Marius, I was here for a week, in the same house as you?
That too.
Did you really think I didn't notice?
I don't know. You seemed very distracted. You brought your husband. How is he? How's
He's doing well. Reese is well.
Yeah. Does he have any new books?
Oh, does he have new books? Yes, so many.
I gave him my address to send me a few, and he never.
He didn't?
Well, I just sort of assumed he got busy. He seemed like the kind of guy who maybe focuses on one thing for a long time, and
he's been reading a lot of woodworking books, and he's working on a project. Well, it's been a little time consuming, but when I get back, I'll make sure he sends you some. I'm sorry. You should have told me. He is very one single track kind of minded, so I apologize.
It's all right. I should have written him. I got a little preoccupied. I want to make sure that she's. Everything else has been so much. I just wanted her to be happy.
Just nods, and she's just kind of like looks down, and she's like, "Yeah, she kind of stopped writing too, but it's okay. There's a lot happening."
Yeah, she's I won't say a mess, because she's always beautiful and composed and lovely, but she's been something adjacent to a mess. Is there a better word for that? Either of you got...
Hot mess.
I wouldn't say that to her, personally.
Grace is like, she's grieving. It's a process. It's okay. She's feeling, you know?
Yeah, I know. And, it's not something I ever want to put her through again.
And Gris kind of like squeezes his shoulder, and she's like, "We'll do what we can, okay? For both of you."
Okay. You all kind of like he kind of seems to stop talking. He seems kind of worn out by the conversation, and even sort of he looks at the vial you've given him, takes a teeny tiny little swig of it, and closes his eyes and almost seems to like fall half asleep. Like, you know that thing that dads do when they're like in an armchair and they're watching like a basketball game and they like doze off and like kind of like keep waking up to like they see the score, and it's almost like they don't even realize that they've fallen asleep.
Did you do like the head thing where he's like,
it's
like
103 to 99.
Yeah,
I've been watching the whole time.
Exactly. His head kind of like falls back a little bit, and he does seem to almost fall asleep very quickly.
Chris, what was that?
It's just it helps with pain. It's nothing crazy, I promise.
What?
Do you need to know?
What is it, though?
Do you need it? It's not Sundrop, if that's what you're thinking.
No.
And she kind of like wags her finger for like.
Throwback.
That's not gonna like mess with his like, you know.
No.
You, Galen, you do a little howl, and one of his eyes open, and he's like, "Don't say that about my mother," and then falls back asleep.
And Gris just kind of like looks at him and then like looks at Galen. She's like,
do you think that happens often? Do people say that about his mother often?
It's a pretty strong pain medicine, so I think he's having a good time.
Do we gotta like put him in a bed?
No. He'll be fine. He's sitting. What could happen? He's not gonna fall over. And then Gris kind of like looks behind her shoulder, and she's like, yeah. He's not gonna fall over.
Are we gonna have to like weekend at Bernie's?
I think it's more that he's very tired, and maybe like whatever she gave him would make him a little drowsy, and it just sort of combined.
Combination.
Oh, so you gave him fantasy Benadryl. Okay.
Yeah, you know.
It's not an allergy bed. It's more of like a fantasy Tylenol extra strength.
Yeah. She gave him like the Tylenol PM on accident without really thinking about it. Meanwhile, it seems like maybe the nobles have begun to sort of gather. A lot are standing, some are sort of moving their chairs closer to the chair in the middle of the room. You notice that at the podium is Leone's mother. She's no longer crying. She seems to have pulled herself together very well, or maybe Leone did a little bit of her own glamour magic on her mother. She seems very pulled together, and she does a little, like, very dainty throat clear. If everyone would find a place where you are comfortable, I'd like to say a few words in honor of Lady Leonida's life. And sort of like pauses for a moment. There's like, people are starting to get together. It seems like maybe they're going to take a few moments to all sort of come together. You do see behind her stand Leone and Ariadne. Leone seems very composed and Ariadne seems a bit nervous.
Galen, should we? No, we don't need to. Should we join them?
I mean, we can hear them, right?
I just meant like Ariadne. Like I don't want them to have to stand by themselves.
Well, typically, like, normally I'd be okay with that, but with the current situation that we're dealing with, I feel like Ari's up there for a reason.
Huh?
That's like a thing. And have you not been to a funeral before?
They're very different. Very different in the Grove.
Okay, well.
Okay, well, okay.
It's a thing.
Okay. Should we? She looks up. She once again looks back at Marius, and she's like, "Should we move him closer, or is this good?"
At that point, Marius does like a little like jolt, stands up, using the cane's assistance, and then sets the cane back down and strides forward, like making a very solid effort at seeming like everything is fine, and stands sort of towards the back of the throng and looks back at you two, and he's like, "Well, are you coming?"
Grace just kind of goes. She's like, "You got it, Marius. We're here. We're going."
Yeah, I don't know what just happened to Marius, but sure.
So are you gonna go stand near him?
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna go stand next to him and like just once again kind of like change my gaze from like where the chair is to him and kind of back and forth, making sure he's okay, but also paying attention to what's happening.
Yeah,
He's
I'm gonna stand next to him.
Yeah. Okay. So you
But,
stand
like,
next to him?
I stand next to him, but like slightly behind him, just in case he like falls over. I don't want him to crush Gris.
Don't.
Or fall backwards.
Galen, you sort of take a place slightly behind him, and he takes a very subtle half step backwards to stand next to you, and puts an arm on your shoulder as if he's trying to seem casual, and then leans on you, and he's like, "I'm so sorry."
Don't worry about it.
Thank you.
I sort of like just like cross my arms to make it seem even more buddy.
Two bros being dudes.
Two
And
bros
nothing
being
weird
dudes.
going on here. Up front, everyone's sort of begun to fall completely silent, and Luciana leans on the podium and begins to speak. She's doing the voice that you first met her with, the very posh, refined, or her best attempt. Thank you all so much for being here. I know that my mother was something of local color in many senses, but I think that was something we all appreciated about her, and hopefully is something you will remember her for. She raised me almost entirely on her own after my father's passing when I was quite young, and she went on to help me raise my own daughter. I will always be grateful for her presence in our home and the vivaciousness with which she lived her life. She was a woman of her own making, and though she requested the most audacious things, she never expected anything more than simple kindness. I had never met someone more willing to welcome someone into their home, whether they be a traveling merchant or a handsome noble she wanted my daughter to meet and marry, or the odd petty thief she let sit at her dinner table. And she like sort of giggles for a moment before finding herself back at a podium at a funeral and sort of regains her composure and continues. It's not easy for me to say goodbye to her because for both me and Leon, she was the most stable thing in our lives. She ran the business from her sickbed and knew exactly what she wanted, even until the end. I'm very lucky to have gotten the chance to say goodbye to her, and I'm sure many of you would have liked that opportunity. The house will feel so much bigger without her in it, and a lot lonelier, too. I don't have the right words, but I'm lucky in that she helped me raise such an eloquent young woman as to say a few words about her herself. Leon? And she smiles at you and sort of takes a step back.
Leon steps up to the podium and she's maintaining composure, but internally this is the hardest thing she's ever had to do. And she kind of steps to the podium and says, "My grandmother was not the kind of woman you could predict like the weather. Her moods varied day by day, hour by hour, minute to minute. She'd be lighter and happier than a breeze on a sunny day one moment and a hurricane the next. She was harsh, critical, forthright, and a savvy businesswoman who frequently harped on me about how I haven't gotten married yet. But she was also the person who would squeeze my hand before a ball that I was nervous about. The one who would whisper in my ear that it didn't matter that I looked different from everyone else in the room. She was the one who would hand me my favorite chocolates under the table that she wasn't supposed to know I was under during her business meetings. She taught me that I was a LaBelle, and I demanded respect because of it. And she would always try to find a diplomatic way of doing something unless it was about me. And then you'd be lucky if she didn't raise your entire house. I don't know who I'd be without the influence of my grandmother in my life, and I don't really know how I'm supposed to go on without her yet. I've never met anyone that wasn't enchanted by Leonida the moment they met her, and the world is undoubtedly darker now that she's gone. Thank you for coming to celebrate her life today." And Leon steps away from the podium.
As you step away, your mother does give you a little squeeze on the shoulder and leans in and says, "You did very good, baby. She would have loved that."
She just whispers thank you.
Luciana then steps back towards the podium and takes a moment before giving a little smile and saying, "And now, Leonida has requested that a small speech or sermon be led by a dear friend." And she looks at you, Ariadne, and smiles very apologetically.
Yeah, it's okay.
And
I smile back it's okay.
and steps back again.
Okay, I less gracefully than probably Ari's ever really been walking, make my way up to the podium. And I just kind of look around, and I take a deep breath, and I go and I start to say, "You're wondering why I'm here. So am I. This is quite spontaneous, but, I would have not expected anything less from a spontaneous woman. I have no credentials other than the time I've spent at Temple, and I can say I was not the best student. But she seems to have some kind of faith in me to speak well of her and well for her, wherever she is now. So I'll do my best. The thing is, I can't find the words to say how lovely. She treated me in a place that that everything was foreign to me. To all of us when we got here. And for whatever reason, mainly our shared love of a certain beverage, she showed me a lot of love in the short time I knew her, and I'm grateful for that. And I look over at like Leon and her mom.
Leon is like gently nodding, like you're doing great.
Luciana is sobbing, but like very quietly, and is trying her best to like do it into Leon's hair, it looks like.
So I look back at everyone, and I continue, and I say, the truth is, I have had a very solid relationship with my own gods, so I cannot speak, neither for any of yours, nor for Sune, really. But what I can say is something that a dear friend of mine always taught me, and that part of that is no matter how you worship or how often, and I like chuckle a bit, it's the act of having faith in someone, in something, that makes it all worthwhile. And whatever it is Leonida had faith in, I think they were all the better for it. I hope that, you know, wherever she is, whatever afterlife that she either wanted or is not happy with, has asked for the complaint book. But I have no doubt that wherever her journey is going to lead her is where she's meant to be, and that she is going to be judging us all lovingly from that very same place, day in and day out. And I look over at Leon and say, sort of now mostly I'm like, I don't know what to say, so I'd look over at them to say, I can't possibly fathom what it is she wanted me to say. So all I can say is it was visible and palpable how much she loved you both, how much she seemed to light up a room, and obviously, and I gestured to everyone in the room, she's touched many lives and uplifted an entire community with her wit and joyful playfulness, let's call it, with her charisma. So just know that I don't think there was ever, and I look back at Leon, ever a doubt in her mind how loved she was by her family and how proud she was of you and of all that you will continue to do. And I look back at everyone and like look around the room, and I'm kind of awkward now, and I go, if I had a drink, I'd raise it, so if you have one, I invite you to. And I just go like and step back.
Marius, from the crowd, still leaning on Galen's shoulder, pulls out a flask and holds it up and is like, good job. Like, you can see like a little thumbs up around the flask.
Chris has like a tear streaming down her face, and she just instinctually responds by like clapping a few times, and then realizes that it's not the play, and then she just kind of like shoots Ari and Leon in turn as like a sad but like encouraging smile.
Leon squeezes Ari's shoulder and casts message and says that was perfect. Thank you.
Ari's like, you know that hitch in your throat when you're like gonna cry, but you're like, no. And so you're like, I'm just not gonna speak. That's what Ari's feeling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Luciana has kind of like unwrapped herself from her daughter's hair, and her face is still perfectly pristine, likely thanks to either Bertram or Leon. And she steps forward to the podium and nods to you, Ari, and goes, and now, my mother did wish that everyone have a drink in her honor. Bertrand will be bringing round champagne glasses. There's no need to be formal about it, but if you could wish her well with a small toast amongst yourselves. I'm sure she would appreciate that. And she takes a step back, gives Leon's hand a squeeze, and turns and sort of heads back to the small private corner of the room where she was before. Everyone sort of disperses, and sort of conversation begins again. There is sort of an awkward pause beforehand, but as Bertram and the rest of the servants begin to deliver glasses of champagne, everyone begins to sort of settle back into conversation.
Leon looks at Ari and says, I would like to leave. I would like to go.
I like hold an arm out, like in how I've seen Marius escort Leon, and I'm like, Leon, let's zoom. And I like take Leon off the like out of the spotlight.
And I feel like they would head towards Marius because Leon's like, we have a dinner to attend to, and I don't want to be in this sad house anymore, and I'm allowed to leave if I want.
Then Galen clocks that and just like whispers to Marius and goes, I think that's our cue. And then I'll start leading Marius to meet them halfway, I guess.
Marius nods, and he like sort of tries to once again make it look like you guys are just bros hanging out, having a good time. But he does look down at Gris and he says, "Can you get the cane for me?"
Gris kind of nods enthusiastically and takes it from him, and kind of follows them as they head towards Leon.
I look Marius up and down, and I just like sort of smirk, and I go, "Well, I'm not trading dance partners."
Oh no, we're having a good time, right, Galen?
Yeah.
Swapping stories. You know, he's a big fan of old war heroes now, so he and I are real tight best friends.
Speaking of, I've got a question for you later.
Me?
Yeah, you, Mr. Navy hero.
It's true, I was one of those. And he like gives like a big fake smile.
Gris is like puts her hands together in the way that she always does and says, I don't want to be in this room for a minute longer.
Gris nods enthusiastically, and she's like, the dinner? Should we go?
Marius, where were you going to take us? Me? It's us now.
I sort of thought, maybe a picnic. I know it's not really our style, but Bertram made us a
It's
basket.
our style, and I like throw a thumb between Gris and I.
Gris nods, and she's like, love a picnic. Fresh air? Food? What's better?
He gives a little chuckle and steps away from Galen and looks to Ari and says, mind if I cut in?
If you must. And very exaggerated. And I let go and give him over. But I look over at Galen and I go, I'm not taking your hand though.
That's fine.
Gris holds her arm like up as much as she can. She's like, you can take mine.
I like try and go down, but then I'm like, I just hold out a hand.
Gris takes it and just kind of smiles, and she's
she's noting in my head that it feels like walking a toddler.
Oh god.
Gris on a different train still has tears in her eyes, and she's like, it was a very good speech, Ariadne. And she kind of like squeezes her.
I don't really remember it.
Oh, well, it was very sincere, and honestly, I think she would have loved it. And then she kind of looks at Leon and she's like, and I loved hearing those stories about both of you.
Yeah.
But dinner.
Yes. Leon wraps her arm gently but firmly around Marius's, like she's been doing this for the past few months with him. And so he knows that she's strong. She's a big, strong paladin. So he knows he can lean on her as well.
All right. So he sort of like leans on you for a moment, and he does look down to you, and he's like, you did really well.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of you.
I think she would have been too.
I know she
probably wouldn't have liked that I said nice things about her, but It's too bad she doesn't get to comment about it anymore.
He laughs and he Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say go for it.
I'm just gonna look back at Leona and say, just because we can't hear her doesn't mean she's not complaining.
Well, same but different.
He Marius laughs a little bit, and he looks back to Galen and he says, the basket will be in the I guess it's sort of a waiting room of sorts. It's like a small library. There's like a couple armchairs. It's the one that chair came from.
I know the place.
It'll
go get that. I'll meet y'all outside.
All right, and I figured you'd be a good choice. Nobody's gonna notice that we've left. Leon, your mother, should we, or does she want to be left alone?
She went back to the corner. I'm gonna just let her be.
I'm sure Bertram's got a good hold on this.
Yeah, he's invaluable.
He does like a little laugh, and he's like you can tell that he's really resisting some sort of "that's what she said" joke. Like he's doing his best.
I'll fucking do it.
And he begins to walk, though slowly, as if maybe he's thinking of Gris and matching her pace. Or maybe it's what he wants you to think.
Mm-hmm.
Would you all like to exit the ballroom?
Yes.
Yes.
I will, but I'll make my way towards the waiting room to retrieve the basket.
All right, so you all sort of like head in the direction of the front door, and Galen, you do peel off it just towards the waiting room. It's not a far walk. You can see the basket; it's very clear and seems unguarded, which you sort of silently thank yourself for. You wouldn't really want to have to deal with another angry Bertram situation.
Can I check just in case?
Yeah, you know what? That's a really good idea. You can go ahead. That's going to be a perception check.
Okay. A 23.
It's good. It appears that he has, in fact, just left the picnic basket for you all.
Okay, I take it, and then I take a deep breath, and some tears fall from my face, but they seem to fall just a little bit faster than everybody else's, and then I just, like, straighten myself back up and walk out.
All right, so the rest of you wait outside. Leon, Marius is leaning on you. But the moment you even shift your weight to accommodate him, he backs off as if he didn't want you to notice. Well, Galen, you got the basket?
Right here.
Awesome. Leon, I was thinking maybe a garden?
Yeah. Does the LaBelle Manor have a garden? Or is there like a garden close by that she always goes to? Like the LaBelle Manor has like a sick garden, right?
Yeah, the LaBelle Manor has a sick garden. There's also one that's sort of almost a quasi-public garden that has been constructed, that's got some statues. You two took Gris and Reese there when they came to visit it. It's not a far distance away.
That's where one that's not on the grounds. Let's go.
That sounds good. Yeah, all right. You all got everything? I don't know. The Tritons don't need like seawater or something to drink, right?
No.
He does like a little laugh and he's like, no, I'm just...
No, but maybe if we splash some on his face, he'll like have sharp teeth again.
I don't think now's the place for that. Maybe once we get to the picnic.
I mean, I'd think it was hilarious, but they are kind of assholes about Leon's ears, so I wouldn't push it.
Yes. Yeah. Didn't even think of that.
Leon and Marius begin to lead you in the direction. It's a very short walk. They do pause for a moment. Marius makes as if he's pointing out a particularly nice flower on the grounds of a home you pass, and Leon acquiesces this act and smiles and remarks at how nice it is. And then you continue. You stop at a large garden. It's got these large hedges filled with beautiful roses. They have to be enchanted to be blooming, as it's still early spring. A lot of the flowers that have come out so far tend to be early bloomers. And Gris and Ari, you both know roses to be or summertime things. They are a myriad of colors, and as you stop, Marius sort of looks back at you, Galen, and says, "There should be a blanket on the top of the basket."
Oh, you mean this one?
I hope so. There shouldn't be more than one, right?
Well, I don't know. There might be more in the basket. Hold on.
Galen, there is an extra one in the basket. It appears to be more for warmth than for dining on, though.
Pick your choice, Marius. I sort of like hold them both.
I mean, one of them is the blanket that I use when I'm cold. Perhaps the larger one? It's nice of Bertram to have packed it, but maybe not.
Again, pick your choice, Marius.
The big one, please, Galen.
Leon, he clearly gave me an instruction, baby. This is a man's conversation, and he's like trying to keep a straight face.
Blankets
he's
and
like,
picnics.
Probably not the one she uses when she's cold, though.
So the one that she uses when she's cold, great. And I
Galen, don't
flick
put that on
out the one I flick out the one that she uses for being cold, but with like a little bit of sleight of hand, I flick out the other one before the other one can even hit the ground.
Can I get a sleight of hand check?
You sure can. That's stealth. I did the wrong one. That would have been great, though.
If that fails, I'd like to zoom. While he's doing that, I'd like to zoom under it, just standing straight up, so that if it falls, it is covering me like a ghost sheet.
21.
So you correctly navigate this, and now Ari is awkwardly standing next to you, having doubted your ability to do this thing.
I sort of just like look over at Ari and just smugly smirk. I know what you were trying to do.
You all sort of take a seat. Leon, would you like to help Marius sit, or are you going to let him try on his own?
I would like to allow him to try on his own, but stay very close in case I need to jump in and help.
And Gris is still holding his cane, right?
Yes.
Can Gris kind of like just like slowly hand it back to him? Like, you might need this.
Ari makes a point of looking elsewhere, sort of like to give him.
He seems to appreciate that, and does take the cane, sits down, and lets out like a really like long groan, and then goes, "Galen, can I use the blanket? I'm a little cold."
Here you go.
Thank you. He like wraps it around himself, and he's like, "Well, how about some dinner?"
Please.
Sounds good to me. And Gris like quickly like sits down, like crisscross applesauce, and it's like eager.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Leon would start to just like pull things out of the basket and like place them on the blanket so that everybody can have access.
So there's a lot of food in this basket. It seems like maybe Bertram and Marius anticipated your friends coming along, as there are a variety of meats and cheeses, and quite a few seem to be almost spinach puff style things that are clearly more vegetable based for Gris. Someone has taken the time to do that. There's also a bottle of wine at the bottom that you recognize as your grandmother's very favorite of all the wines that she's ever had. Along with quite a few glasses and a small cake.
Leon starts to pour the wine into glasses for each of them, just a tiny bit for herself, enough for one sip. Fills the glass for Ari. Gives an appropriate amount for Galen and Gris and Marius. Kind of hands them all their glasses, holds her glass up and says, a toast to my grandmama.
Leonida. And Gris kind of holds her glass up with both hands.
Marius holds up his and like sort of clinks it against yours, Leon, and then everyone else's, and he's like,
yeah.
I take mine, and over the course of these months, having clued into the fact that it fucking sucks because I no longer feel it, I chug it, and I hold up the empty glass, and I go, I mean, do you think she'd want it any other way?
Well, exactly. You're right. Leon, not knowing that Ari can't feel alcohol yet, hands Ari the rest of the bottle. Just thinking that Ari would want it.
I take it, but I look at it and I like nod in appreciation, but I go, I mean, yes, taste lovely, but I feel this would be kind of a waste. That was just a gesture, and I point at the glass next to me.
Hey.
Gris also kind of like just looks at Ari like in doubt.
I go, oh, right, so doesn't do much anymore. Unfortunately for me, it's quite the bummer.
Since
and
when?
I put the bottle down. A while now, like, I don't know, since the last time I was at temple, but then I just thought it was tolerant, because that's happened to, I'm getting there. I thought it was, a couple years, I have to just, like, adjust my intake.
Right. God,
to match. But no, that doesn't seem to work. Yeah, it turns out monks, we poisons, disease, somehow discipline just lets us not have that, which, would have been a nice footnote when signing up.
Oh, well that's
they didn't tell you that you wouldn't be able to get drunk. They did not warn you about that.
No, it
That's really nice of them. I'm glad that they did that for you. That's,
well, now what, Ari?
I mean, can we put this on pause for a moment?
Yeah.
Probably a
I feel
good
like that
thing,
might be
Ari.
entrapment.
Marius does like a full dramatic sigh and goes, in Umberly's name, you're telling me I'm gonna have to have the fish as a drinking buddy now?
I mean, I'll join you. I'll remember what you do.
I'll remember that, Marius.
It was all in good fun, Galen.
Mm-hmm.
I do appreciate your help today.
I sort of just like make a heart out of water.
He smiles. He seems thoroughly, once again, this seems to be like his favorite trick of yours, is the water thing. Like he's happy with that.
Gris kind of like stares into her cup and she's like, well, Ariadne, I was gonna get you to finish the rest of mine.
I can. I'm just saying this is really nice. It's her, her favorite. It's just you can savor it. I can finish it, but I will savor it. I just felt that it's what she would have wanted.
It is. You should take the rest of the bottle to Lily. Lily can cook with it or something.
I look at her affronted and I'm like, this is not cooking. Why?
I don't
and I
really
look at
drink,
Marius
Ari.
too, and I'm like,
Or cook.
She's the woman I've chosen to love. Would I change it? Yes, but
I love, Ari loves that, and I'm just like, I take a deep breath and I'm just like, I will take it to her. We will enjoy it very thoroughly, but it will not go in a saucepan, Leon.
Okay, my bad. Ari, I want you to understand, I don't cook, ever. I've never cooked anything.
Gris just chuckles like manically at that one.
I found it to be quite a romantic accoutrement to any sort of dinner if you're ever looking to impress.
Ari's just like gives like a frown. She's like, what is she told? What is she put in your mind?
Ari, someday we will talk about girls. I'll get you there. I'm not saying I won't tell Leon, but
I mean, challenge accepted, but you don't have liquor to help you now.
Oh,
that's true.
We have to just rely on the fact that Ari's in a good mood and they want to share with us. That's gonna be difficult.
I mean, Leon's got the Leonida card. You're all here. It applies. I'm just saying it's not a guaranteed thing.
So, like, on that note.
And I, like, throw my head back and just like, do we not have more important?
Are you and Lily, like, an item?
Well, they're living together, aren't they?
A couple?
And
doesn't mean anything. There's no necessarily titles. Those conversations don't always happen.
Well, we're not an item. We're not inanimate.
Leon chuckles and is like, it's like the surprise. It's a terminology. Are you in a relationship?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I certainly hope so. Otherwise, I'm gonna be very sad when I get home.
Ari, I'm happy for you.
I give like I literally just give a thumbs up. I'm like, I have said more words today than I have in like 3 weeks.
Gris just like nods enthusiastically and then kind of like whispers to Ariadne and is like, "It's a good distraction. Maybe elaborate if you can."
Oh, and I again just like give a sigh, and I'm just like, the things I do for you, Leon. And it's like I like just take a deep breath, and I go, well, and I try and think back to what it is we've done. I'm just like, I mean, I told you I'm teaching her brother to spar. He's pretty good. Other than that, you know, she fixed up the house, planted a garden. She made vaguely veiled threats about keeping the plants alive. Right. I don't know. We just we cook, we read, I don't know, have picnics, and I point at the blanket. I'm just like, we hang out. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I help her with the rush sometimes. I can, do the fast, but.
So then the inn's doing well after the ghost debacle.
Yeah. I mean, it seems, if anything, maybe it's brought like a couple tourists, which is might be pretty nice. We did have a giant spider eat a sheep, so that was a bad week for business, but I took care of it, so I think we're good. I think we're good now.
Leon laughs out loud at the outlandishness of that. He's like, there's a lot to unpack there. I'm confused more than anything.
Gris was just worried that it's the sheep that, or I guess what? Never mind. Gris was worried it was the sheep that she spoke to, but I guess she talked to a goat, not a sheep.
Oh my god. Leon's kind of chuckling and is like, okay, Ari, I will let you stop talking about things now, okay?
I just give her like a salute. I'm like, it's fine. I just there's not that much to tell. Like, I don't know what you want from me.
A couple does. It's just cute to hear about it.
We're just excited for you, Ariadne.
Yeah. She painted and I remember, and I'm like, I don't know if I told her. I'm like, she painted the flower. She did that for the stones in the garden, so she did that for you.
She's so good. She's so good.
Yeah, it must have taken her a very long time. I tell her not to worry about it. There's better uses of her time, but she seems to enjoy it. So.
She's incredibly talented, and if she paints something larger, you should tell me so we can buy it and hang it in the manor. There's always more space for paintings. The manor, it's big. You know that. I don't know why I'm saying that.
It's true, and I don't know, it'd be nice to replace some of the really old ones that their eyes follow you.
What?
Yeah, I mean,
haunted paintings?
I mean, they're not haunted, they just look haunted.
There was the one time that, one of the first nights I stayed here, Bertram did put a painting of some great somebody right in front of my door because he was convinced I was sneaking into Leon's room.
Well, there was no sneaking.
I mean, I wasn't trying to be quiet.
Were the eyes Bertram?
No.
Oh, God, I hope not.
It wasn't. No, Bertram is not that. No, it was just a painting. It was an intimidation
But he can disappear and appear just randomly.
No, it wasn't. Bertram, no, oh my god, no.
I don't know, Leon. He really is.
I look over at Gris and I'm like, I'm pretty sure whatever he may say, the man needs sleep. I don't think he's spending it spying on Leon and Marius.
Oh, that's exactly.
And then he just got used to Marius being there, honestly.
Oh, now we're good friends. He walks out of walls and scares me. He asks me to help him lift things and then looks at me when I refuse.
I don't know why everybody is scared of him.
He's scary, Leon.
Not really.
I do feel like if I make a misstep, he will set me on fire using nothing but his hands, which is sexy when you do it, baby, but it's scary when he doesn't.
He's petrified me before. It's funny you say that. He's
after you tried to take something.
Yeah, and then you tried to get Ariadne to do it, and honestly,
I'm not saying I didn't deserve it. The man is just capable of who knows what.
That's sort of what I was getting at. Thank you, Galen.
Yes. Well,
I got you, bro. And I sort of hold up my fist for him to pound it.
He sets down his wine glass so he can continue to lean on one hand and kind of gives you a little fist bump.
Chris scratches her head and she's like, "Wait, y'all are actually friends now?"
When did that happen? What? When did that occur?
Between the chair escorting and when you guys were at the podium.
No, he didn't have to escort me at all. It was just we were having a good conversation.
Oh yeah. Sorry, they were just having bro time. Man time?
Like you do at funerals.
We were catching up, mending some fences. He's a good guy.
Hear that?
Yes.
He thinks I'm a good guy.
All right,
Marius?
what are you certain? What was the thing you gave him, Gris?
Are you? Are you Marius right now?
Yeah,
it's fine. It's fine. It's good. It's fine. I'm just a little shocked.
He helped me to make sure that no one else noticed anything.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And Leon actually in that moment cast message to him. Actually, Jenny.
Yes.
Does Marius know, has Leon told him that she has found a solution?
I mean, yes, but he does not like it.
Okay, but he is aware.
He is aware.
Okay. Speaking of other people not noticing, I was going to talk to everybody about my solution. And she's looking at him.
He, looks at you, and he goes, I don't think it's a good idea.
I think it's the only option.
Well, can we just start with what's wrong? Maybe?
Marius?
Nothing you need to worry about, Chris.
For the last time, Marius. I will not rest until you tell me and you let me help you. What good is being a healer and studying all these herbs, all these poultices, if you won't let me help you?
Marius, need I remind you that she can turn into animals and can probably do some damage. So...
I mean, I can too.
Yeah, but mine's on command. Is yours?
I guess, well... I mean, Leon is better with words, but, Galen, you'd mentioned something about your mother and how the gods maybe had made it so that when they went quiet, things stopped progressing forwards. And, without access to the Lady of the Moon, I've had to take certain precautions, and, well, she stopped moving forward, and I've been moving backwards.
Backwards? As in...
The silver.
And
the silver.
The wolf's bane and the...
It's... The clerics, they don't know what it's doing or why it's doing it, but every time Marius uses them, he gets sicker. It's like an infection that's getting worse. And they don't know how to fix it.
You don't... You're staying in your other form for normal amounts of time, right? Like, that's not getting longer?
No, I'm just not doing too well.
But
I keep telling Leon it's not something she needs to concern herself with.
And yet, I like to stick my nose in the businesses of the people that I love. So, I found a solution. I was doing some research, and I found a spell.
Spell?
Yes, it's a spell. It is a spell. It's okay. So it's called the Heaven's Favor. But I need something. I need something to do the spell. I can do the spell, but there's like an item that I need to do it.
Well, what's the item?
The exact words were a forgotten offering to a god long dead, stolen from their altar.
Stolen?
So we need to find the altar of a dead god, and I need to take an offering, and then I can cast a Heaven's Favor, and Marius will be fine.
Leon, I don't think it's going to be that simple.
I know the spell, and that's what I need for the spell, and
I mean,
just trust me.
It's no more convoluted than the other things we've done so far. But I don't know about you, but I don't know that many dead gods.
Well, we did have Tefine until.
Well, yeah, but you said long dead.
Tefine was. Well, yes. I mean, dead in the hearts of her followers. She had been for a long time.
I guess without
but
Mung.
Her whole entire temple is gone, and I presume the statuette and all offerings along with it, alongside all of my gold, which was a hefty sum, if anybody can recall.
Leon.
I know.
That's not what you're upset about.
I know. I'm upset about a lot of other things.
Leon,
I don't think I've ever been upset about money in my life.
Where did you find out about this spell?
A book. I've been doing a lot of studying.
What kind of book?
I will roll deception for that, Jenny. Yes, I will.
Yes. Have you told Marius where you got the spell?
No.
Okay.
No, I have not.
Roll deception. Everyone else, what's your passive wisdom?
Delicious. Delicious. That was delicious. Absolutely delicious. Okay.
Passive
that is
wisdom?
Yeah,
Perception.
passive wisdom perception or passive wisdom insight?
Perception. Insight. Give me an insight.
15.
16 plus 8.
13.
13.
Chris? 13.
I have 17 perception, but not.
Leon found the book. Found it in a book, probably a spell book of some kind. You guys don't really know. Like, if you have magic, you sort of got it either through just having a terrible father or really loving trees.
I feel like that's hard to believe because the last time she learned a spell, it was from one of the voices in her head, and it was a necromancer spell.
True.
It may be that if you are questioning it, you're not questioning it because of her delivery of the line. You're questioning it more because of the pattern of behavior. Yeah.
I'm just questioning that she knew how to find things in the library enough to find another spell book she needed. That's my question.
I mean, Bertram has taught me plenty of spells before, and I know that you can find obscure things in books, and while Valditas wasn't particularly helpful, I did manage to find this spell, and so we just need to find a dead god and steal an offering from them.
I just feel like that might not put us in the best space.
It is the only option.
Leon, may I speak to you privately?
Yes.
I mean, I'm down.
And then Leon kind of like looks to everyone else and is like, with her eyes trying to tell them to leave because it takes a lot for Marius to stand up right now, and they should probably do the moving first.
Gris kind of like she like throws back the rest of the wine, sets the goblet down, grabs one of those spinach puff things, and she's like, "I'm gonna stretch my legs," and kind of like walks to a different side of the garden, kind of looking back at Ari and Galen.
Is there anything nearby, like any points of interest adjacent to the garden, or is it just like a big sprawling garden in like the middle of the square or something?
It's a big garden. There's like a lot of statues. The statues have plaques, presumably with like who carved them, who it is. There's like a lot of flowers. There's what appears to be like a small hedge maze with a water feature maybe in the center. You can hear like a fountain bubbling. But it's pretty sprawling. Like, this is definitely the passion project of some rich people who really want to beautify the area.
Okay. We might get lost in the maze, knowing us. I guess I'll just walk around.
So you're gonna just like...
I'll just meander around, look at the statues. Yeah, I'm gonna be the bored kid on the field trip. Who just kind of wanders.
Oh my god.
You're wandering around, you're like, I wonder if the teacher would notice if I smoked a cigarette next to this rose bush.
Exactly.
I'm familiar. Yeah, okay. Ariadne, what about you?
Are there any tall trees around?
There's a couple of trees, but someone has like maybe stunted their growth and kind of shaped them into shrubs.
Damn. Fair enough. I look around and I'm like, why did they do that to the tree? Basically. But I just look back around and I just sit back down and decide I'm gonna go into trance for however long they need. I was like, I'm just gonna vibe.
So you just like fully get into like a meditative stance and...
Yeah. I'm just like, I need just recharge. There's a lot of talking from me.
Marius kind of like looks at Ariadne and then looks at Leon and he's like, are they...
Yeah, they're doing the meditation thing. It's like them sleeping. It's a little nap.
Leon, I feel like you realize that there's no guarantee this is going to work, right?
It's our best option.
There's other options, Leon.
And this is the best one.
I want you to be happy, and I don't want you to waste all of this energy on finding something that doesn't work. I don't want you to waste any time on this and then have to mourn me anyways.
It is not a waste, regardless of the outcome. Trying to save you is never going to be a waste for me.
I want, if it doesn't work, it's time that we could have spent together that we don't get back.
And what if it does work? What is the point of me having the gift if I can't at least try to save the people that I love? I could not save my grandma, but I can't. Listen, my intuition is telling me that this will work. It's telling me that this is what can help you.
I don't want to be another person who lets you down or breaks your heart, because you deserve more than that. And I'm telling you right now that I will let you go if that's easier for you. I will let you walk away from this, and that way you do not have to worry, because you worry enough.
Leon takes his hand and says, I would never want that.
Okay.
Okay.
And you can do this, but you come back, and if it doesn't work...
We'll cross that bridge if we get to it.
Alright. I love you.
And I love you.
He, leans his head against yours for a second, and then leans back, and he's like, and, are you worried about, curses or something? I feel like maybe that's, a good way to get... Have you asked Ariadne if, gods do curses? That feels like in their wheelhouse. I mean, they don't do a lot of religious stuff, but I think curses seems interesting.
I'm less worried. I mean, it's not... What I read, it doesn't say that I'll, necessarily be cursed, but it does say that, I mean... It's an affront to the god, an affront to the heavens. It's not going to go unnoticed. But it doesn't mean I'll be cursed. It just means I'll be noticed.
Leon, I have one more question.
Yes.
A few weeks ago, you told me that you hadn't found anything in our library, or the library of Freylin, or your own library. Mm-hmm. This isn't, from your dad, right?
It's not from my dad, no. I don't know who it's from.
But it wasn't in a book, right?
No. But I'm not lying when I said I read it.
You might want to tell them the truth.
I will. At some point. Maybe not. This second, there's a few other things that I'm maybe just not quite ready to share.
All right, Leon. I trust you.
Thank you. That means the world. And I would never do anything to put you in harm. I hope you know that.
I am more aware of that than anything else. And you look very pretty. Glamour's good. And I thought you looked pretty this morning with the eyes and everything.
Oh God, I disagree. Kind of wholeheartedly, but I appreciate the sentiment. It's actually very nice. You look very handsome.
Thank you. Do we yell? Do you want to do the
Chris, Galen? And Leon kind of snaps at Ari.
I open my eyes very slowly and just look over, and I'm like, you know, you can poke, say my name, but I'm not a dog.
I didn't want to poke
but
you.
I hope that was
I
productive.
felt like poking would be more offensive than snapping.
I don't know. It's just, would you like to be woken up from a nap by snapping?
It's not very easy to wake me up from a nap.
It's true.
Fair enough.
She's there's a lot of, you gotta open a window really slowly, and then you have to tell her how pretty she is first thing in the morning, and then you gotta give her some tea, and then it's all production.
It's true.
You are fairly high maintenance. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, I am.
Yeah? Is there she
is now. She remodeled our whole house.
You mentioned that. What does that look like?
Oh, Lord Almighty. It is completely different. It's been repainted. It's red and gold, or it's gold and sort of like this. It's like a paler version of her, if that makes sense. Sort of like a peach, maybe. And there's these massive windows now. I don't know where she got all these windows and resources and all this from, but it's completely different. There's rooms to meditate in. All the furniture is made of actual clouds. They're so soft, I guess. I don't know. There's carpet everywhere. There's this monk that's there that sort of leads.
You mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Meditation services.
What was it? Random monk.
I still don't know where they came from, and I can't ask her where they came from because she's off with her friends. There's also a fountain in the courtyard.
Wait, so have you not talked to Bee in the past 3 months?
She hasn't been home, Grace.
No, Maxilla did tell me they've been on some of their own adventures, so I expect they're preoccupied with other things.
Oh, okay.
I'm still kind of not here completely after meeting her mom.
Right. Oh, so you haven't had to have that conversation yet.
No.
Oh, that'll be a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole time, Leon hasn't really been listening because she's been pondering and thinking. And she says, "Do you all remember the last time we went to the Library of Freylin?"
The last time?
Yeah.
Yes, when we discovered about Tefine.
Right.
I just remembered. We talked about another god. And I don't know, maybe like a long dead god and the god of death. Maybe they're the same thing. He wasn't really worshipped anymore. He was. Do you remember? He was called Hetrasil.
Yeah, was that the guy with like
I thought that was
the
god of
raven head,
death.
the
Yes,
raven skull,
yes,
something like
yes.
that. He was pretty creepy. You know, adequate for a god of death. But
Leon, are you saying
The
you want to rob
aesthetics
the
there?
god of death?
I'm
Absolutely
saying
not.
That could be a possibility.
Absolutely not.
Perhaps. Can I roll like history or knowledge or something?
Maybe there's somebody here who knows a lot about history. Who
Oh,
reads a
fuck,
lot of
Marius.
history books for fun.
Marius?
And it looks like he was like kind of zoned out, maybe half asleep. He's like, "I'm sorry,
You're fine.
yeah. What's up?"
What do you know about dead gods? Or Hetrasil, the god of death? I'm trying to figure
Hetrasil.
out where we could go.
Like Merkel's father,
Who's
Who?
Merkel?
I don't know what that is.
no.
the current god of death. Ariadne, you are a monk.
I like looked
I don't
down and,
comment
like,
on this often, but I feel like maybe there's a certain
mean-
level of
Yeah, but like and I sort of flop my arms. I'm like, there's a lot of names, Marius. Like there's I know you read a lot. Like, and I'll take you to the temple one day and show you the library. There are a lot of books. There are a lot of names. They all sound quite the same.
well, I mean, I'd like to get the chance. Hopefully, I have time.
And I just purse my lips and I'm like, I will get you there, and if you like Leon, you say one more word about if, I will punch you.
Thank you, Ari.
Chris is like, plus, you have a stag party you gotta go to anyway.
It's all about a
so.
positive attitude.
It's true. What would I do if I didn't get the chance to be drunk on a boat with Galen and my brother?
Fun.
I mean, that sounds pretty
You
great
wouldn't
to
get
me.
to. You
I mean,
wouldn't
I
get
could
to
come
come
too,
back and tell
As
me
like a
about
turtle or
Okay,
a bird.
Oh, Chris, Leon will explain to you the concept of a stag party someday, and
Then you'll get it.
I mean, Ari might be able to. Ari, you should introduce yourself to Thad. He just sort of invites whoever to things.
You could
Yeah.
probably... Honestly, Ari,
Fair
you could just
enough.
go. Thad wouldn't know
Anyways,
this. Yes,
um,
you said Merkel's father was Hetrasil?
Merkel's father, Hetrasil. Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot about him. I have a book.
I would love that.
Yeah, it's at my father's home. I'll see if Thad can bring it over. It's a little bit of a walk
Okay.
right now, but yeah,
mean,
I
I
can.
can go and get it.
Galen, if you rob my father and you get caught, it'll be not only a whole thing for you, it'll be a whole thing for me.
Yeah.
I thought we were
let's-
past
I am-
assumptions, Marius.
We
not-
are
not
past
Thaddeus.
assumptions, but I am just barely in the will right now. And you know what it's like to love a woman with expensive taste, it sounds like.
I was
can
just
afford
gonna ask
everything on my
Thad
own.
if he could.
I know,
hook me
but I
up.
like to buy you
I know,
things.
I know.
Okay. Well, Thad, I mean, you could talk to Thad. That would be, I would love it if you spoke to Thad instead of me. Recently, he has decided that brothers have to get married in order, which is quite interesting. I don't think he really understands.
And did he
How marriage
did he
works,
know
apparently.
Leonida's request?
Oh, I hope not. I don't know how she was. I don't think she knew who he was. Did she?
No, she did not. It's better that way. She would have
It
invited
is
me
better
over
that
all
way.
the time.
Your house is that way. Yeah, and I sort of just like point in a random direction, not knowing.
I am nearly 100% sure that Thaddeus will be at the LaBelle Manor until they stop serving champagne.
Yeah.
Okay. On my way then. What's the book called?
No,
No.
we can,
We can do it later. I'd rather you talk about this with us. We all have to be in this together if we're robbing a god.
I mean, I feel like we've got the robbing thing down.
Well, you do.
I don't know. Most of the other crimes we've committed have been unintentional.
Yes,
And,
this
and
one.
to be fair, and Marius, I do really like you as a person, and I do really want to help you, but I don't know if I want to rob a god.
I'll do it. You don't have to.
But
It's fine.
there's this thing called being an accomplice.
It's okay. I don't think the
They're
gods are thinking that
dead.
hard
What are
about
they
it.
gonna do?
Anyways,
At that point, Galen, you feel something tug on your hair sharply.
God.
You okay?
I sort of just like look around.
A
There's
bug?
nothing.
Leon kind of just looks at him, and then looks back at Marius and is like,
Leon,
"So is Hetrasil dead?"
Oh.
Wait, yes, Galen. What?
just so I'm not making sure I'm not feeling or seeing things.
Okay.
Can you see anyone around me with your whole like paladin
I
thing?
guess I'll use my divine sense.
All right.
See if I could sense anything.
I start to like sweat. Like I'm
Can you remind me of the
nervous.
limitations of divine sense?
Yeah, so
Here.
it says the presence of strong evil registers on your senses like a noxious odor, and powerful good rings like heavenly music in your ears. As an action, you can open your awareness to detect such forces. Until the end of your next turn, you know the location of any celestial, fiend, or undead within 60 feet of you that's not behind total cover. You know the type of any being whose presence you sense, but not its identity. And then it uses straw as an example.
Let's see.
I can also detect the presence of any place or object that has been consecrated or desecrated.
You feel some like true radiant good, and you are able to sense something a little undead, but it's not that concerning, and almost barely registers.
Leon kind of looks at him and is like, I mean, like, there's good here. It's good. Everything's fine. I sense good.
Something just yanked on my hair, Leon.
Well, it wasn't something that I could tell you what it is. It felt good.
Hello?
good feeling
I
from it.
start like
I
looking
just
around
look at
again.
Galen like he's kind of lost his marbles.
Is he
'cause
okay?
I didn't drink at
Are you drunk?
Somebody yanked my head. I'm telling you.
All right. Well, you keep me posted on that.
It kind of hurt. That's why I'm a little nervous.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. And Leon looks at Ari and casts messages like,
I
don't
mean-
let him drink anymore.
Yeah. I like just nod and chuckle, and I just go, I mean, would you like to switch seats? I don't know how to help you.
I wasn't gonna tell you this because it's really embarrassing, but in the funeral hall, something also like pinched my butt cheek a little bit.
Galen,
was-
what?
Something's following me,
What
Leon. I
are
don't
you
know what's
talking about?
happening.
Okay. Well,
grit?
it doesn't give me an evil sense, so clearly it's something that's good, which means you deserve it.
Speaking of being in the funeral, Marius, can I ask you a quick question?
About funerals?
No. About the
okay.
Navy.
All right. Yeah, sure.
We'll get back to Hetrasil after that, I guess?
Well, we're
Yes.
here.
No, it's fine.
There was a
Look at Chris, and
guy
I'm like so confused.
in the funeral hall
Uh-huh.
who kind of looked like me, but he had on. Marius is human, right?
Yes.
Marius is human.
Yes.
I mean, he's a werewolf now, but
Well-
like, yeah.
A werehuman, if
He
you
had
want.
on
Yeah.
your sort of regalia. Do you
Oh,
know
you-
anything about that guy?
Galen's saying there was a Triton. at Grandmama's funeral.
But like in human navy dress.
Are you asking me if it's common for Tritons to serve in a human navy?
I'm asking if you knew who he was because I looked at him and felt like the soul left my body for a second.
I mean, if I had to guess, he was, oh. Yeah, actually. I know exactly who he's actually, yes. He's one of a few that do defensive coordination. He's some sort of admiral, maybe. I never knew him that well, but and he like sort of like gets a little awkward and he's like, I'm sorry you noticed. He's not actually here for the... I didn't want Leon to worry, and there's been a lot of clerics, so I thought maybe I'd reach out to some people from the Navy who've been around and see if they've heard anything about any miracle cures, but it sounds like maybe she's... It's weird he came to the funeral. Did your grandmother didn't like hang around with a lot of Navy guys, right?
Well, I mean, I didn't really know about her exploits.
I mean, she told me more than I cared to know.
Yes. On principle, I didn't want to learn about them, but it's possible that she knew him. Would Leon know?
No.
No, I didn't think so. It's very possible. Like, you know what my grandmama was like. She saw someone on the street and was like, they seem interesting. Come for dinner.
That's an understatement. No, I don't know him all that well.
Do you think he's the one who pinched your butt, Galen? Is that what you're asking?
Chris.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, when I was just looking around the room and my eyes met his, it felt familiar, I guess.
I mean, it's a Triton.
I mean,
Do
right,
you have any
but
uncles or cousins?
I do have an uncle, but he's a scholar.
Oh.
Not really.
I
You're
just turned to
different
Leon
than
and go, I mean, do you feel familiar with every person who has elf ears, Leon?
Okay, that's a fair point. I don't know, I don't know that many Tritons, okay?
Well, I mean, you did find a sister in the middle of a temple, so I don't know. You could
It's
find
true.
some other sibling at a funeral.
Marius, who has taken a small sip of wine, does like nearly a spit take, and then like takes a moment. He's like, "At the Temple of Umberly?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
his sister."
It's his sister.
Yeah.
Well, half
Weird.
sister, right? Half sister.
Half sister.
Yeah.
Have you talked to her recently?
Yeah, why?
How recently?
Probably like 4 or 5 months ago? Right? Is that the right timeline?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
no reason.
She did say, I don't know if it was you, but someone certainly matching your description.
Oh, no,
visited, so I
know her. She's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
You make donations, right? To the Temple of Umberly.
Oh, I mean a lot of. If you sail, you want Umberly to like you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for
That's-
good waters.
Yeah.
Calm waters. Good waters.
I learned that she's called the Bitch Queen.
Umberly or your sister?
Umberly.
Oh, okay.
So I think that she's quite revered among sailors, so this makes sense. But I
It's
don't...
actually Queen Bitch, but yes.
Oh, well...
Yeah, she's temperamental. She's what can I say? I love a woman with a fiery temper. No pun intended.
I mean, even if you did, it was a good one.
Are you sure it's? Seeing the pun. Are you sure it'd be fiery and not tempestuous?
Oh my god.
Ari.
Ariadne, you are once again re-invited to be my drinking buddy, but we are bringing Galen because it's no fun if I'm the only one getting drunk.
Yeah, that's fair.
Galen sort of has a moment to himself, like, maybe Umberly... No. Never mind. I would be
Um,
dead.
Leon goes,
Anyway.
Hey, Hetrasil. Wow, we got off track. Hetrasil? Is Hetrasil dead, Marius?
I mean, he fell, and people clearly forgot about him, Ariadne. Not that it seems that many people know all that many gods. This is an alarming indictment of our education system. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, really.
I will have you know, all of my neighbors were trees, so there's a disconnect there.
Well, I don't know what elves get up to. Anyways, Leon, yes, I would say that as far as gods go, he's about as dead as you can get.
Does he have a temple?
I wouldn't know. People who, I mean, Merkel does. You might be able to find out more there.
Okay, so we'll get that book. Maybe there'll be information in the book. If there's no information in the book, we could go to the Temple of Merkel, try and find somebody who has information about Hetrasil, and then hopefully find an altar to Hetrasil where I can take an offering, bring it back to you, cast a Heaven's Favor, and you'll be fine. It sounds like a great plan.
How sure are you that this spell works?
I'm as sure as I can be.
And
Where did you get it
Right,
from
that's
again?
not an answer. But okay.
I already said. I read it. Which isn't a lie.
Well, Leon, if you think it will work,
I
trust you.
have faith that it will work.
I have faith in you.
Well, we should probably go steal from a god then. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
How close are we to the full moon?
You've got about a week, at most.
So has he been getting worse at full moons? Out of character?
Yeah.
But he's
Yeah,
not
the stuff he
staying
takes
in
to
wolf-
weaken himself to be able to like do it in the basement and stuff is like poisoning him.
Yeah.
Leon,
Yeah.
Marius, have you tried changing without Silver and Wolfsbane?
Yes.
And
that was when I decided to join a druidic circle.
This was before the gods went silent.
Yes.
Oh.
The first time it happened, I lost control, and I don't know what happened, but I do know who suffered. And the second time I went to the woods, and it didn't help.
So
Just making
we
sure.
have to just get this before the full moon and get back so I can cast a Heaven's Favor, and then Marius will be fine.
And Leon, if you can't make it before the full moon,
We have a whole week. It's fine.
I give him a little pseudo like slap like on the back. I'm just like, I told you I would like.
What happened?
Ariadne, at this point it may even be a fair fight with me in this state. Leon, fake laugh.
Let's not.
What happens if things go awry and something happens to you instead, Leon?
What do you mean happens to me?
I'm just saying, if you take something from a god's altar, surely there are consequences.
Leon chuckles and says, I mean, technically, I ate a goddess, so.
Well, and there were consequences, were there not?
Right, but nothing I've not done before.
You say that like it's a good thing.
Leon, I think what she's asking is changing my fate worth maybe sacrificing yours?
Yes. because I'm not going to be sacrificing anything. This is not one has to survive and the other has to not. That's not how this works. We both get to walk out of this.
I think her point is that it maybe could be.
It's a risk I'm willing to take.
I just was wondering how far you're willing to go, is all. And what we need to prepare for.
Are you going to tell your mom?
I'm going to tell my mom that I'm going on an adventure. She does not need to worry after the loss of Grandmama. I'm really not concerned. We're going to go to a temple of a dead god that nobody worships anyways. We're going to take an offering and then we're going to come back. It's not that big of a deal.
I just look
Things
between
like this require planning, Leon.
Yeah, Galen and Chris
which
and Mary.
is why we need to find where the Temple of Hetrasil is, and then we can plan from there. But right now, we don't even know where the temple was.
You mean is? Was?
I mean, was. It's a dead
But-
god.
But if it's an offering to a dead god, an offering would have to happen fairly recently, right?
Not necessarily.
No, it could be the last one someone left.
Exactly.
Could be
However long
coins,
ago
could be
that may be.
skulls.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be a corporeal thing.
So?
All right. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not going to be the one that's going to say no. I'm not going to help Marius. But I am going to be the one that says, think about what we're doing before we do it, Leon.
Oh, I've thought very hard.
Just like you thought hard about swallowing that pearl, huh?
Well, that was a time-sensitive situation.
This
Leon
also
says
is a
it's not
time-sensitive situation.
but I didn't just learn about this spell.
Okay.
I've known
All
about
right.
it for a little bit.
Well, I guess we need to grab a book and find out where a temple is.
Agreed.
Marius, sort of, picks up one of the Spanish puffs, looks at it, puts it back down, and he's like... Anybody gonna eat any more spinach puffs? I'm pretty sure Bertram worked very hard on these.
Oh, I'll eat more.
Yeah,
and Grace kind of grabs some, and she's like, I guess we did kind of put our dinner to a weird track. Maybe we should just enjoy our time together for a little bit longer. If you can wait a few hours, that is, Leon.
To wait until tomorrow morning anyways. Because I assume it's, kind of evening.
Yeah, the sun is, setting.
Yeah. We'll stay
And,
and we'll figure it out tomorrow.
With that,
she
I
grabs
take
a
a
spinach
spinach
puff.
puff and shove it in my mouth.
Yeah.
Just yes, you're right.
Gris is kind of
Are we
looking
camping, or...
down at her hands, and she kind of wants to talk to Marius, but doesn't know how to do it, and is really wishing she knew how to use message right now. And so I think she falls a little bit quiet because I don't think she's super on board with this plan just yet.
Marius looks at the spinach puff he's still holding and sets it back down and leans back and sort of closes his eyes for a few moments as you guys sort of eat your dinner. Do you all have anything else to say during this meal?
No, I think Leon is very gingerly picking at this spinach puff. She just had to say goodbye to her grandmother. She's not super hungry.
So you said it was a good thing that was pulling my hair?
Yeah. I mean, I got good vibes.
Has Bee learned any magic recently? Because between
Galen, whatever it is, it's not trying to hurt you.
Well...
No, it's not. I would have felt that. There's no malice involved in it whatsoever.
But where did it come from?
Well, perhaps that's something that we have to figure out in time, but maybe one hair pull and a squeeze, let's call it. Maybe those things are just the beginning. Just pay attention to when it happens. See if there's a trend.
Well... There has been. At least these 2 times.
It's only been twice.
Yeah, but...
I mean,
So
you've
I
still
made
got to
that
wait.
slip.
What are you gonna do? Fight a ghost?
So I made Thad slip. Y'all saw that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's when the squeeze happened. And then when I made my offhand remark, I already forgot what I said.
Mm-hmm.
My hair got pulled, so
So one was an action and one was a speech? That doesn't seem like a that doesn't seem
He's saying he
Like
was
it's
being
it's the
less
nature
than
of
kind
the yes.
both times.
okay. So keep an eye on that, and I guess keep me posted, and I'll do the.
How about you don't do anything Gris wouldn't do?
Yeah, that's a good.
So, I guess you're gonna have to put down that, piece of sausage there, buddy.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't eat that.
I eat it out of spite.
Chris is like, I wouldn't do that. And then I think Chris kind of like looks over at Leon one more time, and is just like, "Are you sure you want to go on this sort of adventure after everything? Are you okay?"
I'm as okay as I will be. Nothing. Listen, sitting at home, I've been doing that for 3 months, waiting for this to happen. I can't be in that home right now, at least not for an extended period of time.
And you're not worried about your mom?
She'll be fine. She has Bertram, and she knows that I'm getting antsy anyways, and we need to help Marius. I'm not going to sit at home when we could go and help Marius.
Okay. And then Leon, she kind of like turns her gaze from like Leon to Marius, and kind of gives him like a look, and she's like, "And you're okay with this? You're okay with her performing a spell that you don't know much about?"
Have you ever tried to stop Leon from
Yes, I'm
doing
trying
something
to
that she
do
wants?
it right now.
We've
and
been
I've tried to do it
that since the
before.
day we met her.
Well, this has been an argument for maybe 3 weeks.
Maybe
So
I
what
should
are
have
your-
left her
Fair
tied
enough.
up.
So what are your honest opinions then, Marius? If it comes down to it,
I'll go on my own if I have to.
You're not going on your
no,
own.
absolutely
We're
not.
That's the yeah. I
Yeah.
think my opinion is I'd rather she go with you all than alone, but I don't know, Gris. Just don't let her die for me.
It's kind of gives a small nod, and it was kind of I think
Well,
just kind of like out of character. I think in Gris's head, what she's asking is like, if we have to make a choice, what kind of choice do we make? Because she already is getting that feeling that there's gonna be a decision that has to be made. So I think she's trying to make sure Leon doesn't make the wrong decision, and that Marius doesn't end up without his Leon, I guess. So
you're gonna make Leon be without her Marius instead?
no, that's what I'm trying. That's where I'm at. She's kind of like, why can't y'all just spend time together, like?
And just let him die? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I think Marius kind of looks at you for a moment longer too, Gris, and he goes, "Do you remember when we met after the bird thing? Clearly,
Yes.
You told me why you were there. I try to think of it as she's just doing what you did."
Just kind of like closes her eyes. Yeah.
I echo like Gris's sighs, and then I just like lean back and I smile at him, and I just go, "Well, how about we worry about keeping her and ourselves alive?" And I like gesture to us, and you just worry about. And I gestured him, keeping you alive.
Yeah, I guess.
Chris is just like, okay, well, it's a week. You should have enough of that tonic if you need it, Marius. And if you need more, contact Reese. He knows where I keep everything.
And he owes me some books.
And he owes you some books. Honestly, maybe you call him and have him come stay with you.
Oh no, Luciana'll keep a good. She'll take good care of me. I can't give her all of the grandbabies she's always talking about if I'm not here.
Well, that's fair. But I'm thinking maybe Reese comes to you because that man could probably use some food time. He spends a lot of time in our house alone reading books, so he may also know some things. Y'all can talk about history. She just kind of like nonchalantly waves her hand, like, I don't know, whatever you find entertaining, y'all can hang out and talk about. She's kind of just like, I just don't like the idea of leaving Marius alone.
You can have more manly conversations about which blanket to sit on.
And he gets drunk very easily, so you'll have a good time. He's small, you know?
I'll talk to Luciana. I'm not really interested in going home to dear old dad, and she likes me around, I think.
She does.
I'm sure she
calls
does.
me Eye Candy.
She does.
Leon, why do you never call me Eye Candy?
Do you want me to call you the same thing my mother calls you?
No, that would be weird, you're right.
I thought so.
Alright, well. If there's, I get, Ari or Galen, can I get some help up?
Arms
Yeah, I
up,
go.
soldier. And I sort of like reach down with my hand.
He, takes your hand, and you pull him up, and he, like, kind of looks for the cane and grabs it and balances on it. And he's like, so, sounds like you got a trip to pack for.
We do.
You gonna bring your formal clothes? You got a nice hairbrush? You need some snacks for the road?
All of it. Maybe
I mean,
not.
Chris has
with
Goodberry.
Oh.
You've had one of those before?
That's not really a snack.
But they're good.
It's one berry, my man.
Hey, but they're very good berries.
Okay, but did you just eat one of those spinach puffs? I'd rather have those. Or the scones.
We will get... Okay, we will...
All I'm saying is if you're going to
will
convince
pack
me to
some
steal
food.
from a god,
Well,
I'd like some
listen,
snacks.
We will provide food. Can we go and get ready?
That's what you want.
And sleep?
Sleep sounds very good.
Yes. Leon's like trying to like usher them along because like Marius is standing now and she's like, oh, he's not
Chris
well.
starts throwing items back into the basket to carry it back to the LaBelle manor. And then gets Ari's help to fold up the blanket, and they kind of do that thing where you kind of like meet together and fold it, and then places it back in the basket.
With a
so
distinct height difference, so there's a diagonal going on.
It's going really well. I think poor Ariadne probably has to like squat down at some time.
You all pack up, and Leon begins to lead you home. You do take a break again. Marius doesn't bother with the rose thing. He just sort of stops and catches his breath, and then you all continue onward. And you arrive back at the manor. It seems that most of the guests have cleared out. Thad, to his credit, seems fairly sober. His fiancée is fully asleep, and he's like he's like kind of carrying her bridal style. And you manage to cross paths in the doorway, and he sort of like gives you all like a big smile, and he's like, you guys having like a nice dinner or something?
Yeah, your puffs were, the puffs were good.
Oh yeah, I think Bertram made those for me once. It was weird. With Marius here, I've been coming around sometimes, but it's usually just kind of like me and Bertram, and sometimes Marius and the biddy. So
What?
Lady LaBelle, it's
You
me
could just
and
call me Leon. Oh my god, Dad, did you forget my name?
Marius, you look.
Thought so.
good.
Can you grab a book for us from the house? It's about Hetrasil.
You
Can
want
bring
a
it
book
over?
about what? For the who?
You
What?
need to-
Bro, okay, listen up. This is super metal, alright?
Yeah, man, alright, go on.
So, Leon over here is doing some, like,
Let's not.
super cool research
Yes.
for an
Okay.
art project. She's, like, getting into painting and stuff or whatever. It's super boring, right?
That's pretty cool. She does need to chill.
Right? But the painting she wants to do is about this god dude who was super powerful, right? I guess he rulled over death or whatever, and his name is Hetrasil. And
Yeah,
Marius
he's
said-
he's like Merkel's dad or something. Or
Yeah.
did a lot of talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, super cool, right? So Leon's wondering if you could grab a book, I guess in your library or your dad's or whoever owns it, about him and bring it over so she can learn about him and do the painting super good. You know what I mean? And I sort of playfully punch his shoulder.
He nods for a second, then he goes, so okay, I bring the book. Right? I bring the book, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
first thing tomorrow morning.
Okay. And then what?
That's it.
I'll give you 20 gold for it.
He doesn't need
I
it.
don't need gold. Okay, so that's all you need?
I just need you to bring the book, Thad.
I can I'll send
first
send the butler over
Yeah.
with it tonight. I gotta get this sleepy baby home, and he does a little and
Please don't
he's
go
like
home.
and Alyssa's like that stop.
Okay. Good night, Thad.
Good night, Leon.
Good night.
Good night, Marius. You look bad. Please, just go home, please. Okay, Galen. Keeping it tight,
Sad.
bro. We'll have to get some
Shit.
waves together sometime. Elf. Little lady, it was good to see you again. Laters. And he just kind of walks away. Still totally carrying Alyssa, who's just completely asleep.
All right. Well, on that note, we should go to bed because I don't think I can even think about Thad again. He forgot my name, Marius.
I don't think he
He's-
ever knew mine, so.
You know,
Do you
That's-
expect that much from him, Leon?
he's a nice kid. He's got a good heart.
Uh-huh.
He's just a little bit empty upstairs.
Yes. Right.
And he's really good at fantasy lacrosse. He's got that going for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's really all I got. So.
I know. All right.
He called me little lady. I'll take it.
So that was cute. Marius sort of looks at the stairs and that are in front of the door. The door is open. He's looking at the stairs and he goes, I'm going to try to find Bertram. It seems like a lot.
Yeah.
I step out in front of him and I'm like, listen. I'm as prideful as anyone, but do you want me to basically give you a piggyback ride? Because I will.
I could also carry you bridal style if that's more your thing.
Piggybacks are quite good.
I was
often do
being
it.
serious, Galen.
I often take piggybacks from Ariadne.
Marius kind of stops to think about it for a moment and goes, I mean, the portals are just a little bit less.
Jarring.
I want to feel like myself.
Fair enough.
Hmm.
And he goes Bertram, and Bertram full on just appears behind, seems to aim himself to appear behind Galen and goes, yes, sir. Oh, Master Wavefair.
Did you
Always
do that on purpose?
Did you try to rob my home on purpose?
Bertram, I was looking right at you. It's not like I was trying that hard.
Master Steele. And the rest, would you like to perhaps skip the stairs this evening?
Yeah.
Very well. And he sort of creates a large, swirling quasi-hole in the wall through which you are all able to step. You all appear at the top of the landing, and Bertram shows you each your rooms. They are the rooms you used last time, and are prepared quite the same. It seems that he's inferred that you were quite comfortable in your last quarters. He takes the picnic basket from you all and bids you all good night after showing each of you your room. You all retire. Ariadne, there are pillows on the floor for you to meditate. Galen, there is again just a large glass of water. He doesn't seem like all that enthused on providing you with much else. Gris, there are some herbs for sleeping and a nice candle and quite a few little details that he seemed to included. Which leaves Marius and Leon alone on the landing, very briefly. Leon, Marius...
Before he leaves me at my door, can I just call back to Leon and Marius and just go, watch out for the eyes, I guess, and then close the door?
Bertram makes direct eye contact with you for a moment and is like, you are quite humorous. Steps backwards into the shadows.
Oh my goodness.
Leon, Marius kind of turns to you for a minute and he says, I appreciate that you want to do this for me, and you can, if that's really what you desire, but I would rather that you not risk everything.
I don't even know that this is going to risk everything.
I know, but Gris is she's got some good points.
I disagree.
She can all right. That's fine. And he's sort of like ever the gentleman, even like balancing on the cane, having a hard time with moving that much, holds the door open for you to the bedroom and does take a moment to kind of reposition himself and like gestures theatrically with the cane and goes, after you, my lady.
Thank you. And she walks through the door.
He closes the door behind you and the lights in the manor slowly go off, almost one by one. As you fall asleep, you're intensely aware of the fact that there was no one to really lighten the mood as much as Leonida did. And Ariadne, you do take a moment before you go to bed to remove the wine from your satchel and give a good look at it. It is the same brand of wine that she made sure to send you several cases of after your first visit. And you fall asleep with mutual fond memories of the same person for once. We will be back next week with hopefully a little less sadness.
We're gonna steal from the god. Levity.
Yeah, we're gonna go do a robbery. It's we'll be back with a heist movie. Until then, be good to each other, take care of yourselves, and I hope you're enjoying season 3.
Thank you all for coming out tonight.
Thank you for coming out, and we'll see you soon.
Good night.
Bye.